thanks. Two more games coming up out of the hour here on the Big Ten Network. There's Tanner Morgan, 6th in the Big Ten in passing efficiency. He was 4th in the nation last year. We'll see whether or not Minnesota can get the pass game in gear against Karan Taylor and Illinois. How about this, guys? The 4th string QB pressed into action. They outgained Purdue last week. A couple teams desperately needing a win. We got Maryland and Penn State coming up as well, as we welcome you into our game break. Dave Rebson and Howard Griffith, and of course Joshua Perry and Jerry DiNardo alongside as well. It is always a nail-biter, Howard, when Northwestern and Nebraska get together, and this one was no different.
It really is. You talk about the way this game, the ebbs and flows of it, really speaks volumes to both teams really playing as hard as they could. Nebraska will go out and make some plays. Northwestern's defense will be able to step up and be able to slow them down. It just went back and forth, and then we saw, Luke McCaffrey at the end. Nebraska really started to make plays for him. Strong, still threw an interception, but still, you can see that he's going to have a bright future as a quarterback.
Jerry, what'd you take from that one?
Earlier today on Tailgate, Howard, you brought up non-conference games about another team, how that could have helped the team. I think we were talking about Michigan and them playing man coverage. You look at this Nebraska team. I mean, think about if they had a non-conference schedule, because I look at them against Ohio State. Hard game, hard team to open up with, right? And then today improved in every facet of the game. If it wasn't for COVID and they had some non-conference success, I think we would see more progress than we've already seen at Nebraska. And I think we've seen significant progress, Joshua, in 2 weeks.
No, I definitely agree with that. And the thing for Nebraska with me is the fight that you see out of them, too. There's the on-field product, just the X's and O's and how they execute, but the passion in the fight that they play with really stands out. Guys were taking the ball away. They were getting very excited, and they competed all the way up to the very last play of the game, which is something to be said. But when I look at this Northwestern team, they started off this year really firing on offense, and we thought, especially from last year, that this was going to be maybe a very explosive offense here. And their offense was fine today, but it's really that defense for me that makes all the difference, the way that they're able to take away the ball and when they're get big stops when they need to. I see them as a team that's going to depend on this defense to be able to do well, and that's perfectly fine because they got guys out there who can really play.
Yeah, we heard them talking about it at the end of the game, and Bears repeating still have not allowed a second-half point this season. Fairly remarkable. Pat Fitzgerald now has his team at 3-0 in the Big Ten for the first time in his long tenure at Northwestern. The coach standing by with Olivia Decker. Let's head back out to Ryan.
That's 3-0 for the first time in 20 years, already surpassing last year's win total. Coach, what's the biggest difference this season?
A great response coming out at halftime. We were hoping they were going to give us the win, and I thought the guys on offense especially responded well as poorly we played in the first half.
Well, and defense now. The 2 red zone interceptions in the second half. I got to let you brag on your defense.
Yeah, well, like we talked about, it really came down to the turnovers. We were minus in the first half, huge turnovers in the second half, and to get those 4th down stops were critically important.
I don't have to tell you how important next week is for the race for the West. What do you all have to do well against Purdue?
A lot. They're an outstanding football team. Coach Braun does a terrific job. They're very talented. We got to play a lot better. Pre-snap penalties, mistakes on offense, turnovers, and then defensively, we fit some gaps incorrectly. I don't know whether they averaged 28 yards on every quarterback draw. That was absolutely horrible by us. So, a ton of work to do. But our kick game, I thought, was excellent today. Outside of the missed field goal, I thought we were excellent. I thought Charlie responded really well.
I know every win for you feels personal. How proud are you right now?
Well, I think this group has responded. We've all been through a lot. The whole country's been through a lot. And to find a way to fight and scratch and claw two Big Ten West wins like we just did, I think it shows a lot about our guys' character.
Congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
Well, hey, to the Jarvis family and to all the great servicemen and women and their families throughout the country on Veterans Week here, we lift you up. Same thing with Mr. Kraft. We lift them all up. Thanks a lot, Coquettes.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you. Send it back to the studio.
Pat Fitzgerald referring to a couple of members of the Northwestern athletic family who passed away here recently. And again, a good win for Northwestern, no doubt. And we've been harping on it all day here. Howard, the story of this game was Northwestern's defense.
Really, they stepped up and made the plays they needed to. And that's what you expect out of a Pat Fitzgerald team. They're going to play hard-nosed on the defensive side of the ball to be able to make plays and put their team in a position to be able to come up with the win. This is big time. There's no one open down the field, and players can't get behind. So what do? You go up and get the pick. That was really a great job of defending that. And then again, a little trickeration, but it's still under pressure. Those guys up front are continuing to rush the passer, forcing the quarterback to make an ill-advised throw. But then again, they know what they want to do, in this situation, coming up with a big play in the red zone, what you want to be able to do, this is what you have to do. Get your hands up if you can't get to the quarterback, create a turnover. They were able to turn those 2 turnovers into 10 points, so that's big time for this program, even though they gave up 442 yards of total offense to Nebraska today.
Yeah, they'll have some things to clean up. The quarterback run game killed them, no doubt. And Martinez over 100 yards. McCaffrey was fantastic as well. But again, as we have talked about so often, we'd rather do that coming out of the win than coming out of the loss, Joe.
Yeah, you know, remember Mike Pajakian just got there this year, so the third game, people have more of a book on him, right? So they know what he wants to do, they know formations, they know run-pass ratio. So it started against the bad Maryland team, and then it tightened up a little bit last week. And that's what happens when a new coordinator hits the scene. It takes 2 or 3 games really to get a book on him. So people are going to start defending Northwestern's offense much better than they did when we first started the season.
Again, the story of this game was the defense. Chris Bergen, we saw that play on the goal line, came up with the interception. He was all over the field, 11 tackles. He is standing by with him.
Chris Bergen with a big fourth quarter pick in the end zone. Chris, this is a part of your identity on defense now. You all have 8 interceptions on the season, already passing last season with just 7. What is the pride from the secondary?
Just get to the ball, and that's what we preach, that's what we play. Get to the ball, and good things will happen. I mean, you saw my pick, ball bounced into my hands. So, you know, like I said earlier, the football guys, you know, just had our back on that one, but we preach everything, just get to the ball and good things will happen.
Well, that's a very humble response. Now, redshirt freshman Brandon Joseph is now 3 picks in the last 2 games. What do you see in his development?
Maturity, and we see that a lot in our defense, and it's a guy who grew up in a hurry. It's game 3 for him, and he looks like he's been starting the last 3 years, and he's been playing phenomenal, and we need that out of him. As you saw, the timing and when that timing came, that pick was a game changer. So he's been a huge part of this defense, and we couldn't be prouder of him for how he stepped up so early and so young.
3 games now without allowing a score in the second half. What is the secret to your second half defense?
I'm not going to say bend don't break, but I'm going to come back to just get to the ball. You rally, you swarm, you have another chance. And what we say is plays like that, you saw a lot of big runs that we wish we could have back. We get another chance. Instead of it breaking and it being a touchdown, we give ourselves an opportunity down in the red zones to stop them, and 3s don't beat us. So that's how we play and operate.
Thanks so much, Chris. Good luck against Purdue.
Thank you very much.
Bergen, former walk-on, really good story there. Speaking of good stories, how about Jahan Dotson emerging for Penn State? 3 touchdown drives last week against Ohio State. They'll kick it off 17 minutes from now against Maryland here on the Big Ten Network. You'll also get a chance to see the Big Ten's receiver of the year from last season, Rashad Bateman, leading Minnesota against Illinois. A couple teams looking for their first win of the season. As we take you up to those 2 games, catch you up on the rest of the day in the Big Ten, including Michigan and Indiana. Hoosiers trying to end a long losing streak against the Wolverines, and Michigan State and Iowa. Gotta be honest, didn't see this one coming. We'll show you how it went down in Iowa City as we continue here on our game.
Find your rhythm, your happy place. Find your breaking point. Then break it. Every emergency gives you a potent blend of nutrients, so you can emerge your best with Emergency.
Hey, Jake from State Farm, man. Thanks again for the Rogers rate on my insurance. Here's the deal. There's no Rogers rate.
College football, Penn State versus Maryland. Live reactions, play-by-play. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Cool and Luke 96. As always, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below with that thumbs up button. Share as well on social media. Hashtag college football. Hashtag MD versus PSU for Maryland versus Penn State. Chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers, always greatly appreciated as well. Today, November the 7th, 2020, we have a new United States president. Also, Penn State is unranked for the first time since 2016, along with trying not to start 0-3 for the first time since 2001, along with trying to win their first game on this very date for the first time since 1987. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. Kickoff on the Big Ten Network coming up in near minutes. 3:30 Eastern from Beaver Stadium right here in Happy Valley. Not so happy, though, the past few weeks. Penn State starting out 0-2 with losses against Indiana and Ohio State. Maryland, in the meantime, what Maryland's going to show up today? A 40-point loss on the road week 1 against Northwestern, and then defeating the Minnesota Golden Gophers last Friday night in overtime. So Maryland enters at 1-1. What Maryland team is going to show up, as mentioned, Tua Tagovailoa's younger brother, their starting quarterback. So get used to hearing the name Tua Tagovailoa along with Tua, of course, in the National Football League. Number 1 of the Miami Dolphins, Tua number 3 for Maryland. A former member of Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide, just transferred up to College Park after last season and was named their starting quarterback. So week 1 against Northwestern, he was only 14-25 for 94 yards passing, along with 3 interceptions. And then last Friday night, in that overtime win at home against Minnesota, as Maryland and Minnesota seem to be the 2 Big Ten teams, at least for now, that like playing on Friday nights for some unknown reason. Last time Penn State and Maryland met up, of course, it was a Friday night in late September last year, in which Penn State shut out the Terps 59-0. Penn State has outscored Maryland 252-69 since Maryland joined the Big Ten in 2014 as well. 42-1 all time the Nittany Lions are against the Maryland Terrapins. But as mentioned, what Maryland team's going to show up today, along with Penn State too? Nittany Lions have to establish a run game, in my opinion. Devin Ford, Kevon Lee, Keziah Holmes, Journey Brown, Noah Kane, of course, done for the season with injuries. But somebody has to step up in the backfield. They have to be able to tote the rock, get that run game established, and then open up the passing game with Sean Clifford, of course, at quarterback number 14. But he can't do it all by himself on offense. So who's going to step up on offense to help him out, especially at wide receiver at the number 2 spot behind Jahan Dotson? Will it be Pat Fryermuth, the go-to tight end? Hopefully they'll get him more involved in the game plan today. But Jahan Dotson, 3 touchdowns last week against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Had a few one-handed snags as well. But honestly, who's going to step up behind Jahan Dotson at wide receiver? Is it going to be Cam Sullivan-Brown, who could finally play for the first time this season? Hasn't played at all the first 2 weeks, of course, in this shortened 8-game conference-only schedule. We just saw Northwestern defeat Nebraska. Penn State will be on the road next Saturday at noon on FS1 in Lincoln, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Also have live reactions play of that game as well, so be sure to tune back in 1 week from today. Hopefully, in a few short hours, Penn State will have their first win of the season. They're 25-point favorites. I believe that number has gone up a few or so. It's about 27.5, 28 if I'm not mistaken. But then also, this time next week, after the Nebraska game, Penn State will have 2 wins in the win column compared to the 2 losses against Indiana and Ohio State the past few weeks. But like I said, what Maryland team's going to show up? Who's going to step up behind Jahan Dotson at wideout? Cam Sullivan-Brown potentially playing for the first time today. Who knows? We'll find out and see for ourselves. Daniel George played week 1, didn't play last week. I don't know what's up with him by any means. But Parker Washington, along with Keandre Lambert-Smith from Kip Sabian 757 Country, both, in my opinion at least, more so Parker Washington, Josh Dobbs' cousin, he's been the go-to number 2 behind Jahan Dotson, and even Pat Fryermuth for that matter too at tight end. They need to get the tight ends with Brenton Strange as well more involved, in my opinion. So let's see how the Penn State offense does this afternoon, hosting the Maryland Terps for the first time in a little over a year. Big Ten East rivals. These teams met all the time back while both teams were independents before, of course, Penn State joined the Big Ten in 1993. And then it took until 2014 until Maryland joined the Big Ten, and then they've met every year since, of course, with Maryland winning once back in the early 1960s and then also in 2014. But like I said, Penn State has outscored Maryland 252 to 69 since 2014. 2 1-point games in 2014 and 15 respectively, and then ever since 2016 it was I believe around the same time last time Penn State was unranked as well, so history's starting to repeat itself a little bit here. It was 38 to 14 I do believe in 2016, but then a blowout in 17 along with 18, and also last year a shutout on a Friday night. Penn State's first ever Friday night game as a Big Ten foe against Maryland last year. So the rematch, Maryland trying to get revenge, of course, for being down in the dumps down in College Park as they come to University Park, Happy Valley, this afternoon to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions as the blue and white will have back-to-back home games for the first and only time this season. As mentioned, they'll go to Nebraska next week before hosting Iowa, and then to Michigan, to Rutgers, and then ending the season at home against Michigan State. So 0-2 for Penn State, lost in overtime 2 weeks back against Indiana 36-35, lost by 13 last Saturday night against Ohio State as well, 38-25. Northwestern defeated Maryland, week one in a blowout. Northwestern 3-0 for the first time since 2000. So congrats to Pat Fitzgerald and the boys. Honestly, as Northwestern now plays Purdue next week, and we'll get more into what's going on across the Big Ten and the rest of college football coming up at halftime with some first half stats and scores from this upcoming game with Penn State and Maryland. The rest of college football, as always, we'll preview NFL Week 9 as well, along with All Elite Wrestling AEW full gear before that pay-per-view kicks off later on tonight. So thank you once again for tuning in and watching. But I'm thinking with how the Big Ten Champions Week is going to work out, it's going to be 1 versus 1, of course, for the Big Ten title, and then 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, the whole way on down the line. Penn State could very well get matched up, I'm thinking, against either Northwestern or Purdue right now, just with the way both teams have been playing record-wise, of course, as well. Northwestern at 3-0. Purdue also undefeated, not playing this week, though. Their game against Wisconsin was postponed, canceled. No contest will not be made up. Big Ten, you have to play at least, I do believe it is 6 games to be eligible for the Big Ten title game. So Wisconsin, with their COVID cases, they might want to get that under control if they want to at least compete against Ohio State for a Big Ten title. But nonetheless, Ohio State actually hosting Rutgers later on tonight, so that should be an interesting game. Indiana was hosting Michigan. We see those highlights right now. Jim Harbaugh, his seat might be getting a little hotter. I don't believe they'll fire him. If Harbaugh leaves, he's going to leave on his own terms, potentially go back to the NFL or elsewhere in college football. A few candidates for Michigan, potentially. Of course, Luke Fickell and Matt Campbell. But in my opinion, keep an eye out for Josh Heupel down at Central Florida, along with Brian Harsin at Boise State. And then even Hugh Freeze, former Ole Miss head football coach, now at Liberty, taking Va Tech into the late fourth quarter. Don't know who won that game by any means. We'll check in a little bit later on. We now see the standings in the Big Ten. But those potentially are, if Harbaugh would, of course, not be the head football coach of Michigan anymore. A few candidates potentially take over for him. I mean, the same thing goes for James Franklin right now, too, honestly, at Penn State. If they keep this up the way they've been playing the past few weeks, honestly, who knows if he'd bolt for the NFL or not, even after just signing an extension last December, and then, potentially leaving the blue and white to take over an NFL franchise, or hell, take even over another college football program, potentially back down in the SEC where it came from, or elsewhere, ACC, SEC, Pac-12, Big 12, regardless of the conference. I mean, he said, time and time again that, Penn State's always been his dream job. He'll never leave, but money talks, when it comes down to it. I get he just signed an extension, but still, it's all going to depend on how they play. And already we're having some technical issues for some reason. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you folks just heard me there. Having some technical issues here already for some unknown reason. But nonetheless, Penn State and Maryland about to kick off. So hopefully those will, of course, work themselves out as they normally do. But we're already kick off Penn State and Maryland, the Big Ten game break kickoff in between the noon, 3:30, and late games later on tonight. On right now, currently a few minutes away from kickoff with both Penn State and Maryland, and then Minnesota, Illinois on the Big Ten Network, depending, of course, where you're at across the country. Currently also on, we got Arizona State, USC, as the Pac-12 just kicked off today. The Sun Devils on the road lead the Trojans by 6, and then also talk about all these conferences. Big 12, Texas at home leading the Mountaineers of West Virginia by 4, 17-13. Questionable call in the end zone there on a potential pass interference. Neil Brown not happy by any means, but yeah, it's all going to depend on what happens today and the rest of the season. The college football and NFL coaching carousel going to be messed up just because with everything going on, seasons postponed, shortened seasons. You know, do we really fire this person after only playing so many games and not doing so hot where, you know, if we would have had a full season, you know, could we have caught fire late and, you know, potentially made a run and won a few more games? But we did actually have a firing today in two circumstances. One at a political level, of course, for the meantime, of course, until everything gets settled out. But Maryland at Penn State, nice shot of Beaver Stadium there on the drive-in over in State College, Happy Valley. James Franklin, a former Maryland assistant, along with Bill O'Brien. But Mike Loxley taking over the head coaching duties now in his second full season. Former coordinator across the country, most notably at Alabama, most recently, I should say, at least, under Nick Saban, which ultimately got him the Maryland job as he took over for DJ Durkin, and then insert Tulia Tagovailoa, transferring in from the Crimson Tide to College Park to take over for the Maryland Terrapins at the quarterback position. But circling back around once again, what Maryland team is going to show up today? Is it going to be the one that, you know, got blown out on the road week 1 against Northwestern, or is it going to be the one that led Minnesota, blew a lead, and then came back, forced overtime, and won against the Gold Gophers last Friday night? If it's the week 1 Maryland that shows up against Penn State today, Penn State should blow them out, honestly. I honestly still don't think they'll cover, though, to be honest with you. 25, 28 point spread. Just with how things have panned out over the past 2 weeks, I don't think they'll cover by any means. But if it's the Maryland team that showed up last Friday night, you know, Penn State's going to have their hands full, especially if they can't get anything going by any means, especially with the run game. Lisa Byington, along with former Penn State great, Raider, 49er, and Redskin legend as well, Matt Millen. Glad to see he's doing well a few years post a heart transplant. They'll be on the call for the Big Ten Network over in State College, Beaver Stadium. All is well, remain calm. It's been a not so happy valley the past 2 weeks. So 0-2 for the first time since 2012. Trying not to start off 0-3 for the first time since 2001, as mentioned. Liberty does, in fact, go on the road and beat Georgia Tech on a game-winning field goal, 38-35. We'll have Houston and Cincinnati, along with the world's largest cocktail party, Florida-Georgia kickoff at 3:30, along with Oklahoma State and Kansas State as well. So sit back. Hopefully you'll enjoy. If you do, thumbs up button, chat questions and comments, always greatly appreciated. And should be a exciting afternoon of college football. I mean, we've had some pretty good games at the noon slot this first slate of games this afternoon. USC actually just took the lead by one, 28-27, with a minute 20 to play over Arizona State. But so far in the Big Ten, Michigan was on the road in Indiana. We'll get a look on that, along with Nebraska, Northwestern, as mentioned, the Wildcats defeated the Cornhuskers. Iowa was blowing out Michigan State. Michigan State's like Maryland right now. What team's going to show up? The Michigan State team that showed up today was the one that lost to Rutgers 2 weeks back, not the one that beat Michigan on the road last Saturday. Minnesota, Illinois about to kick off as well, along with Penn State and Maryland. Penn State on to kick off. Maryland will receive. They're going to get the ball. We'll have a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 Terps from the 25-yard line. So we'll get to see Taulia Tagovailoa on the field first. Coley Harvey going to be on the field for BTN. Taulia Tagovailoa, the younger brother of Tua, first-round pick this past April by the Miami Dolphins. Both former Alabama quarterbacks. Taulia, of course, transferred to Maryland, starting the Big Ten this season for the Terps, now on the road. The second time this year, 3rd game overall against Penn State. Of course, no fans in attendance. Friends and family of coaches and players, cardboard cutouts in the south end zone in the student section. 1st and 10, Maryland from the 25. Taulia is going to hand off, and it'll be about a 3-yard pickup to the 28-yard line. So, first play of the ball game, 3-yard run for Maryland, and we're underway. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Terps in their 7th full season as a Big Ten member. Screen pass, top of your screen, and Antonio Shelton, 55, along with, I do believe, Strickcaster Fields and Mont Wade as well on the stop coming up from the secondary. So about a 5-yard pickup on 2nd and 7, so 3rd and short. Should be 3rd and 2 here with 14:14 to play in the opening quarter. So once again, thank you for tuning in and watching my Penn State Maryland live reactions play live right here on YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Texas and West Virginia in a close one, along with Arizona State and USC as well. We got a first down completion far side to the Penn State sideline. It'll be a first down for Maryland. Nice pass into double coverage. Brisker and Joey Porter Jr., the son of the Steeler great Joey Porter, on the coverage, but Taulia Tagovailoa thread the needle and picking up a big first down for the Terps. 13:50 and counting now as the Penn State Lions, the blue and white, take on the fighting Scott Van Pelt's at home this afternoon. We'll have a shotgun formation, trips near side, Maryland right to left across television screen, radio and audio dial. Handoff out of the gun on the draw to the 35-yard line. Pick up a 4 for Maryland. It'll be 2nd and 6 here as their opening drive does, in fact, continue. As mentioned, yes, cardboard cutouts in the stands for Penn State this season, of course, with COVID-19 still currently going on. We'll see how much longer that lasts, but hopefully at some point we'll get back to normal, what we know is normal at least. From the gun, Taulia going to hand off once again. It'll be a 3-yard gain up the middle. Another 3rd and short for Maryland here on their opening drive in the first quarter. They have a few tarped off areas in the stands as well over in State College Beaver Stadium. The S Zone will, in fact, live on. That'll continue. They got the S Zone tarped off with the S Zone logo, and then, of course, Weiss, Del Grosso's, Sheetz's, along with a few others, PSECU, I do believe, and the cameraman gets faked out, slant over the middle, and Maryland's going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown. Taulia Tagovailoa from, we'll have to see how far that was out, but a very quick play. Camera was off by a mile, stayed back with Taulia, and a quick pass over the middle on the slant from him. Tariq Castro Fields with Mont Wade once again on the coverage and giving up another big play. Brisker and Daquan Hardy in the area as well. But Maryland on their opening drive with an early touchdown, now up 6-0 pending the extra point. Of course, Penn State unrivaled as well. And the extra point is, in fact, up and good. So now Penn State's defense, a little questionable, to be honest with you. Goddamn defense, why don't you? Instead of giving up last week, a touchdown 3 plays in, and now a touchdown at home once again against Maryland. Of all teams, no offense to the Terps by any means. They're not bad, but that's the big question coming in today. What Maryland team's going to show up? Well, it looks like it's going to be the one from last week that we saw against Minnesota. But another opening drive touchdown by Penn State's opponent here in the first quarter. So, nonetheless, we'll have to see what Penn State does now in offense. If they can't get the run game going, if Clifford's going to have to do it all by himself once again for the third week in a row, it might be a very, very long afternoon. So Maryland going to break the shutout streak that Penn State's had against them, as they got shut out last year, 59-0. But they score here early. They score first. They're up 7-0 if you're just now tuning in. Maryland with a 7-0 lead over Penn State with 12:27 to play in the opening quarter. Still early. A lot of football to be played. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself by any means, but Penn State now on the return, and Devin Ford going to get to around the 26-yard line, it looks like. It'll be 1st and 10. Penn State and the Lions from there on their opening drive. Who's going to step up at wide receiver behind Jahan Dawson? Hopefully they'll get Pat Fryermuth the ball a little bit more, as mentioned too, but establish a run game, run down their throats, then open it up. I mean, both these teams are going to be out of the gun all day long. Once again, very weird seeing no fans in attendance whatsoever over in Happy Valley Beaver Stadium. Friends and family, coaches and players, yes, but not 110,000 strong. Pass over the middle on the slant from Clifford to Jahan Dawson, incomplete, first down marker. So 2nd and 10 to come. USC and Arizona State once again still in a close one. It's a 1-point lead for the Trojans. Houston and Cincinnati about to kick off as well, along with Florida and Georgia. From Jacksonville, Duval going to be a busy city here today with AEW full gear later on tonight. Devin Ford on the give. He's going to get to around the 30-yard line for a pick of about 4. So it'll be 3rd down and 6, it looks like, for Penn State here on their opening drive. They'll probably go 3 and out, punt the ball, and once again not be able to do anything on defense, and Maryland's going to score on them again. And they're going to just continue to dig holes. And until they get out of it, you know, they're not going to be doing anything. So 3rd and 6 officially from the 30. Trips near side. Clifford looking to throw on this lane. It's going to be caught by Parker Washington. Parker Washington, a true freshman wide receiver from the Houston, Texas area, coming on strong here early on in his young career. Reminds me, honestly, a lot of the new Penn State wide receiver coach and Taylor Stubblefield, the former Purdue great, who held some Purdue and NCAA receiving records in his first full season as now the Penn State wide receiver coach, coming up from South Beach. The U with a big win on the road last night against NC State. Clifford on a quarterback keeper. We saw a lot of zone reads last Saturday night, and of course it didn't work, but Clifford picks up about, I'd say, another 5 yards on that run. So 2nd down and medium for the blue and white here on their opening drive after a big first down pickup on 3rd down on the pass from Clifford to Parker Washington. So to answer my question I had for myself, well, it seems like, okay, Parker Washington is going to be the number 2 behind Jahan Dawson, and then the rest of the depth chart will work itself out eventually over time. Pass over the middle, it's going to be caught. Pat Fryermuth, Baby Gronk, 87. It'll be a 1st down. Penn State now inside Maryland territory. Ball at the 43-yard line, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. 1st and 10, Penn State. USC going to defeat Arizona State, coming from behind and picking up a win here this opening weekend for the Pac-12. Stanford Oregon later on tonight, along with UCLA and Colorado. Got a whistle. They're going to review that. Are you kidding me? I already don't like this ref. I've never liked them to begin with, but here, not even 5 minutes in, they're going to review a questionable completion that was for sure a passing catch for a 1st and 10 for Penn State. So yeah, come on, tell me something good. Let's get on with it and let's continue this drive. You better be thinking this over very, very hard. That's a catch. Come on. That's a catch. I don't get why the hell you're reviewing it to begin with. That's not even that questionable. Ball might have bobbled a little bit, but he maintained control and possessed the ball as he was going down on the catch. After review, it's going to stand. It was a quick review. 1st down, Penn State. So play stands.
And it will be a catch.
Will be a catch. It will be a passing catch. Clifford 2 of 3 now. Completions to Parker Washington, Pat Fryermuth, incompletion, of course, to John Dotson. But 1st and 10, Penn State with 10:05 to play now in the opening quarter. There's James Franklin, who, like I said, potentially, hopefully he'll stick around, but you never know if he'll decide to leave. If, of course, things don't work out this year or in the near future. Clifford going deep down the near sideline. Once again, an incompletion to Jahan Dotson in double coverage. 2nd and 10. So 2 for 4 now for Clifford on this opening drive. Both incompletions to Jahan Dotson. And we're going to have a 2nd and 10 Penn State from, once again, around the 43-yard line, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Dotson going to come out. Yeah, ball at 43. Dotson talking it over now with his wide receiver coach and Taylor Stubblefield, as mentioned. Penn State with a slew of new assistant coaches this season. And then, of course, with everything going on, shortened season, then, of course, 8-game conference-only schedule, everything's all screwed up, of course. Hopefully everyone's doing all fine and dandy, staying safe. Clifford going to keep it and run. He faked to give Devin Ford, almost brought down the back foot on the sack, and then ended up running out of bounds before being tackled by a Terp defender on Maryland's sideline. So now from the 41, it'll be 3rd down and 8 for Penn State. Left to right across your television screen right in auto dial with trips top your screen. I do believe that's Gondre Lambert-Smith and Parker Washington along with Fryermuth. Pump fake from Sean Clifford. He's going to tuck it and run. Picks up another big 1st down on 3rd down. So at least they're finding a way to keep the drive going, picking up big 1st downs on 3rd and medium, 3rd and somewhat long. And Clifford, with his legs, picks up a big Penn State 1st down to keep this drive going as nobody was open downfield. And yeah, move those sticks. 1st down, Penn State. So maybe take a deep shot now from the 28. Toss play far side. Devin Ford. He's going to lower his shoulder, get to the 22, 23-yard line, it looks like. They're marking down 23. It'll be a 2nd down, and I'd say about 5 for Penn State here. Penn State, of course, wearing those Penn State United patches on their uniform. A year after the College Football 150 logo. I really see a whole lot of extras on those plain blue and whites, but Clifford, in the meantime, over the middle. Almost caught by, we got a late flag now. Okay, we got a late flag. We're going to have a pass interference on Maryland, so 15 yards. Should be an automatic 1st down. Pass interference on the Maryland defense. It'll be a spot foul, automatic 1st down. So ball going to be placed inside the 15. Ball is actually intended for number 10, TJ Jones, who's also from the Sunshine State of Florida, playing for the first time this afternoon. Hasn't played the past 2 weeks. Don't know if he's going to take over for Cam Sullivan-Brown or Daniel George by any means, but TJ Jones getting a look from Sean Clifford. Clifford, in the meantime, from the 14 on 1st and 10 after that penalty, going to hand off Devin Ford. 4-yard run to the 10-yard line for him. It'll be second down. Matt Millen, hey, must have heard what I said. Or he just knows what they need to do. He has common sense. Got to establish run game. Have to establish run game, especially the way they've ran the ball the past 2 weeks. Of course, turnovers and penalties killed them against Indiana. Still couldn't really run the ball last week. Not whatsoever. Clifford near side now, incomplete to Pat Fryermuth. It'll be 3rd and 6 from the 10. They need the 4. They'll probably end up settling for a goddamn field goal. Bring out Jake Pinniger, and he'll miss it like he did a couple weeks back. Jordan Stout, the punter. From Virginia Tech, they probably needed him against Liberty today. He's in the second full year, though, with the blue and white. Liberty on the road, defeating Virginia Tech. Penn State was actually supposed to play Virginia Tech down in Blacksburg back mid-September, non-conference, of course. Wasn't played, though. Now 3rd and 6 from the 10. Clifford going to roll out near side, going to tuck it and run, it looks like, and he's not going to have enough for a first down. He's going to be brought down the 7-yard line. It'll be 4th down and a long 2. See what Penn State does here with 7 minutes on the dot to play in the opening quarter, about midway through. Kick it, take the points. You don't know if you're going to need them later. Take goddamn points. They're going to go for it on 4th and 3. Okay. One way or another, you know, if they get it, okay. Matt Millen, yes, take the points. Thank you. Can we please have Matt Millen call every Penn State game? Because if they don't get it, they turn it over. Maryland's going to have the ball 1st and 10 from the 7. Clifford looking to throw. They're going for it on 4th and 3. A fade back corner, incomplete to Parker Washington, so a turnover on downs. Like I said, you don't get it, you know, you're going to get rattled for going for it. But if you kick the points or kick a field goal and get the points, it works out. You get the 3 and you're down 4. But Penn State, their opening drive from the 26 to the 7, going to result in a big goose egg as they go for it on 4th and 3. Don't convert. Turnover on downs. It'll be 1st and 10 Maryland from the 7-yard line when we return, as they don't even get a field goal out of all that. Clifford didn't look bad. They still don't have a run game, but it's still early. We'll have to see how the rest of this ball game goes, but defense needs to step up, because if by any means the rest of the game is going to play out the way Maryland's first drive went, Tulia Tagovailoa is going to pass all over him like he did against Minnesota last week, and he'll have college football and the rest of the sports world talking, for that matter, due to the fact he's Tua's younger brother. But I mean, if you're putting up stat line like he did last week and now potentially again today, if it's going to pan out that way, if Penn State's defense doesn't make any stops, it's going to be a very long day, it looks like, for the Penn State defense. So let's see how it turns out, but Maryland going to get the ball back up 7 after turnover on downs from the Penn State Nittany Lions. So no points on the blue and whites opening drive on offense. Maryland getting the ball back. And I mean, the defense last week, get off the field, sort of did. We'll see how they do today. As long as they're balanced, you know, and moving the ball and nearing points, you know, everything should work itself out. So we'll have to see how it all pans out once we come back from a commercial break here. So once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media.
For days flight today, included in the multi-sport pack. Order today.
Football on the Big Ten Network is powered by Unleaded 88, the clean burning fuel choice that's engine smart and earth kind. Stadium on a game day. No tailgates.
Yeah, very odd seeing no fans in the stands. Once again, no tailgating by any means going on. Only friends and family of coaches and players allowed for both respective teams, and that's and that is conference wide. Talking about and once again having some technical difficulties here for some unknown reason today, but that's how it is conference wide. Just once again saying how weird it is not seeing any fans in the stands and no tailgating. But it's 2020. It is what it is. So we'll have to see how it all pans out here. So
Jason Owe looked like he was coming on a stunt. He was able to come back inside. It was a quarterback draw.
Hopefully we'll be good to go here moving forward. I don't know why that's giving me any trouble today.
If you're looking for the Minnesota-Illinois game, go to btm.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area.
You're better off watching this.
Matt Millen, hey, you're better off watching this game. Damn right. Out of the gun from the 14 on 3rd and 3 for Maryland. Tulia gonna toss it on the option far side, and of course they needed 3. They got 4. First down, Maryland. Come on. How hard is it? Like, seriously?
You want it to come to you, and then once they make that commit, then you pitch it to back Funk.
A gain of 4.
Every time I hear Jim Funk's name, when I hear that, all I think about is Parliament. Look that up, Google that, Parliament, we want the Funk.
George Clinton's even saying, don't do it.
Out of the pistol, Tulia gonna pass. Top of your screen is complete. Castro Fields and Brisker on the stop. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I think 3 Castro Fields is a really quality corner. He's about 6 foot, maybe 195, 200 pounds, but he's got really good length. And he does a really nice job with his reads, and he usually has very good position when he's in his man coverage, right? I think that's a good player.
Brings up now 2nd and 10. And McKenna just pushes Funk out of bounds that time. It brings up 3rd down here for Maryland.
Jesse Luquette is a guy that they've been missing. That's a big-bodied guy. And he has
Slow start here for Penn State.
One of those guys that you can count on, and he's also one of the guys that
have to make some stops on defense.
Brent Fry speaks very highly of him.
See coaches in some short sleeves and potentially even shorts, as it's very, very warm for this October into November Saturday afternoon. Like I said, Penn State hasn't won on this day since 1987, and they're 0-2. Slow start. They're going to be a second half team all year. Once again, it seems like I said last week and week before. I get why this is giving me trouble. Come on, work. Got a flag on the play. We're going to have a pass interference on Maryland. Penalty's going to be declined. 4th down. Okay, Maryland's going to punt. So Penn State going for it, scoring points. Should have kicked it. You still should have kicked it. You'd be down 4. You'd have 3 if you made it. You get the ball back because you just forced them to 3 and out. They're going to punt. And now you're still down 7. At least you're getting the ball back. At least you made a stop on defense, though. So, punt return from the 35-yard line near side. Questionable block in the back, but Jahan Dawson can get to around the 45-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, Penn State from there.
Penn State will go back to work offensively.
Look at this human trying to get in shape. You know what he will get? Muscle pain. Give up. The couch is calling. I say.
Of all things that I normally have under control, that one thing has to act up today. Why? It's always something. I don't care what it is. It's always something.
Meat, cheese, and pickles. The new double cheeseburger papadilla and the return of double cheeseburger pizza.
Just an odd day, honestly. I mean, this week as a whole for everybody, I do believe. I mean, the past 8 months since March have just been, unordinary, not normal, however you want to put it. And today, yeah, nice day, in my neck of the woods, as mentioned, about a 65, 70 degree kickoff right over in Happy Valley for Maryland Penn State this afternoon. The first weekend in November. I'll take it, but here before too long, we're going to have some white stuff falling from the sky, and everybody's going to be complaining, as usual, but that's just how it is. But with Penn State, that opening drive, I mean, I just don't understand why you don't kick a field goal and take the points. I don't. I'd understand, okay, Franklin saying in his post-game press conference potentially, well, we had momentum. We felt like, if we could have picked up a first down, we could have scored. Something along those lines, But yeah, no shit. But it's fourth down, you kick a field goal, you get 3 points out of it, and you're down 4. Rather than if you don't get it, you're down 7. I mean, it's a win-win, lose-lose situation. It's always like that, regardless of, what team it is and who's calling the plays and whatnot. But that's why I said, one way or another, it's going to either work out or not. If they go for it and get it, okay. And then they score later, they don't score on that play, it works out. But if you don't get it on a fourth down, everybody's causing a storm, and you got a turnover on downs, you give the ball back, which they did at the 7-yard line, but then they forced a 3-and-out. Defense actually made a stop, and Maryland just punted. So Penn State now with the ball back. Clifford, I don't get why they run this damn zone read literally every single play. Is that the only play call that's on the play sheet? Zone read, zone read, zone read. I mean, I get it's RPO, it's run pass option. If it runs there, you run it. If it's not, you pass it. If it passes there, either you option to either, tuck it in and run, which would be a run then at that point. You look for somebody else downfield to potentially pass it again, or you throw it the hell out of bounds. Just don't take a sack for an interception. Try to get something out of it, but I mean, you got 4 yards on that. It's 2nd and 6, and then Clifford over the middle, a little too high and far for Pat Fryermuth, incomplete. 3rd down and 6 already, and Clifford here early on, as we near the end of the first quarter already, taking shots from the Maryland defense. And I mean, it's literally that zone read option. Quarterback draw up the middle is the only play they know how to run. I mean, we've seen them put up about 30 points a game. That's what they're averaging right now, 35 and 25 the past 2 weeks. And then week 3, of course, today. But still, come on.
Or atopic dermatitis, even between flare-ups. Dupixent is a biologic and not a cream or steroid. Many people taking Dupixent saw clear or almost clear skin and had significantly less itch. Don't use if you're allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, or a parasitic infection. If you take asthma medicines, don't change or stop them without talking to your doctor. So help heal your skin from within, and talk to your eczema specialist about Dupixent. If your financial situation has changed, we may be able to help.
All right, now we're back live. Sorry for any technical difficulties by any means. Having
Descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Big
A few 3-and-outs by both these teams now, and Maryland.
He sees a shot, he'll take the shot. But the biggest thing, look at his demeanor. I mean, that look right there in his eyes, that's not going to change the whole game.
Deshaun Jones picking up the first down. He talked to the Maryland coaching staff. As Tagovailoa hands it off.
All right, once again, sorry for any technical difficulties if you're just now tuning in. I don't understand why it's doing this today. It's always, there we go again, it's always something new. Hopefully it doesn't, so 3rd down and 6 for Maryland. Out of the gun to Leah Tungalo. And another big, oh my God, literally the same play they scored on. The same play once again. Another quick slant over the middle. And another.
Minnesota. You can see this game on your alternate BTN channel. For now, let's go back to Lisa and Matt.
Well, Mike, don't ask Matt Millen about that. He'll tell you not to change the channel.
All right, we're back. Once again, sorry for any technical difficulties. At least in the meantime, they've been happening during commercial breaks or during when nothing's happening. But Kevon Lee now on the run for side for Penn State, 3 yards for him. It'll be 2nd and 7. That'll actually also be the final play of the first quarter. So at the end of 1, Maryland doing what Penn State did to them last year, and that's shutting the opponent out. Maryland leading on the road 14-0 at the end of 1.
And this Maryland offense.
Literally, they've scored on the same exact play. Quick slants over the middle. Big catch and run in this game on the stream today. We'll continue on, and hopefully in the meantime it'll, like I always say, work itself out, because there's really nothing I can do personally. It just literally does it, and then I gotta work with it and try to get it back up and running. So we'll continue on, like I said. So if you're just now tuning in, Maryland on the road against Penn State. A little frustrated myself personally with just this first quarter of this game, not playing the way they should be playing for one. A second half team, they haven't played well all season, honestly. And then with how the stream's acting up today for some unknown reason, I don't know why. It's always something else. It's always something new. It's always something different. But we move on. So we'll put that in the rear view, and there's nothing really I can do about it, folks. But once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. I know you're probably tired of hearing me bitch and complain about it, but here we are. 2nd and 7 to begin the second quarter. Clifford once again overthrowing Pat Fryermuth. And just now in all phases, all aspects, they can't get a goddamn thing going in any which direction. It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. Just like with what we just saw with the stream, with everything occurring over the past however many minutes or so it's been. Like I said though, when stuff like that has occurred, it's been for the most part at a good point going into the commercial break when nothing's going on, or even during a commercial break. 3rd and 7, Clifford gonna go deep down the far sideline into double coverage pass intended for number 3 Parker Washington, and it's gonna fall incomplete. So another 3-and-out for Penn State, and here comes Jordan Stout once again for another punt. Not playing good whatsoever in any phase. I mean, I tell you what, this is ridiculous. This is honestly getting hard to watch. Maryland on the road coming in. Same thing Ohio State did last week. 2 quick scores, halftime lead, and then they won by 13. they have to get something going. Now, if this is going to go back to the momentum where, okay, we go for it on fourth down, we get it, we have it, but if we don't, we're screwed. Well, that's how it seems right now because they don't have any momentum whatsoever. It's gone down the drain ever since they went for it on fourth down when they probably should have kicked the field goal and took the points. But in the meantime, the defense has been the one to give up the 2 touchdowns. Literally the same exact play. Okay? Same exact play. It was the second one was a little bit more of a rollout and eluding the sack for Tulia Tagovailoa before he hit his receiver on the slant over the middle, and then big catch and run after the pass was complete and a touchdown. Defense has to cover, for God's sakes. Like, do something. Just don't stand there. Like, I don't get why they're playing like this, but you say anything about it, they don't play like this in practice. No. But for some reason, they come out and, we can't get anything going. It's the same excuse. So, still can't run the ball on offense. We'll start there. When you can't run the ball, you can't do anything because you can't throw, because Clifford has to do it all. Enough with all the zone reads, all the quarterback runs. He's not that big of a dual threat. He's more of a passer than he is a runner, but he is a damn good runner too, so I'll take it. But still, don't do it a lot, don't do it too much, because defense is going to know what the hell you're running, and they're going to stop every play. Well, here we go. That's what's been happening. And then Clifford, for some unknown reason, once again, overthrowing his intended targets. Can't hit them whatsoever, acting as if they're another 10 yards further on downfield than what they are, and no wonder it's incomplete. Like, can't run the ball. Clifford can't even hardly run, honestly, at quarterback either. He can't throw. Defense can't make any stops, so something's got to give. I don't care who the hell steps up right now. I honestly don't care what you got to do. If you got to cheat like somebody, okay, but come on. Tulia Tagovailoa going to hand off, 4-yard pickup on the run. It'll be second down. Honestly, defense just needs to make a stop. So like I said, defense has been the one to give up the 2 touchdowns, the 14 points. That's why you man the hell up and you don't play zone. But really, on both those plays, they got beat on the man because it was a quick slant over the middle and, a big catch and run, and, everybody playing catch up from behind, trying to bring him down before he walks in the end zone. But it was literally because they both occurred in the first quarter. You watch them back, one on top of the other, same route. I'm sure he stepped in the same footing spots that he had on the first touchdown. Literally the same exact play. Out of the gun, Tulia looking to throw. He's going to dump it off far side. And about a 8-9 yard pickup on that. Like, come on. Jesus Christ. Missed tackle by a true freshman backer, number 23, Curtis Jacobs. Jacobs playing primarily on special teams, really the first couple of games. Yeah, the linebacking position hurting this year a little bit. Just due to the fact with Micah Parsons opting out of the pistol, but next man up, Who cares who it is? Just play. Incomplete near side. It'll be 3rd and 1. We're going to reset the angle here on the camera here in a second from what I can tell. Needs to be up a little further and to the side compared to what it is now. But we were having technical issues, out the ass. for some unknown reason. I don't know why. I don't. From the 45, 3rd and 1. Tunglaville going to hand off. Another first down, none for Maryland. Hey, at least they shook hands during the coin toss. And credit to Maryland, they're beating Penn State pretty damn good right now on the road in the Big Ten. Maryland going to host Ohio State next week. Penn State going to go to Nebraska, as mentioned, so we'll see how those games turn out. But first, we got to get through this ball game. Penn State trying to not go to 0-3, first time since 0-1. Tunglaville going to tuck it and run. Couple missed tackles and about a 13-yard pickup for him to the far side before being brought down by Jaquan Brisker, number 1 for Penn State, out of bounds. First down and 10 for the Terps. This is ridiculous. Just absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Both, not for myself personally by any means, but there we go. That looks a little bit better. Talia gonna throw it out of bounds, incomplete. We actually got some friends and family of coaches and players, literally like front row, next to the railing. On in the stands next to the sideline. You got a flag. This might be intentional grounding.
I think they're talking about. See, it's an uncatchable ball. They're throwing it away.
But just absolutely pathetic how this game's played out. Honestly, it's awful.
Number 3 was in the quarter, was in the puck under duress. Intentional grounding.
Okay, they do call intentional grounding. Loss of down. That's a little questionable. I mean, he threw it out of bounds. It's incomplete. Was he in the tackle box? So that's a big question. Yeah. Right on the marker. But he threw it deep downfield. It's not like he threw it a yard out of bounds. Take the penalty. It's 2nd and 20. However, Maryland just going to hand off and a big touchdown run. A play after the penalty, and Maryland up 20-0 on the road against Penn State. And Happy Valley already unhappy, getting even worse, becoming unhappier, if that's even a word. If not, it now is, because, I mean, talked about Franklin potentially leaving. Just fire his ass. Like, I get he's won how many games, but...
Big deal right there.
And yeah, all I can do is stand there and, shake my head no and, have my arms crossed. Wearing my mask, of course, but extra point going to be up and good. Maryland leading 21-0 over the Penn State Nittany Lions. This is awful. Just awful. They have not been this bad since 2003 and 2004. They are young, but they are experienced, okay? And they have depth. Why is this happening? That's the one big question that I have. Unless they're going to be a full pledge, four-alarm second-half team, okay, we'll see how it plays out in the next 45 minutes or so. But there's no reason for this. There's no excuse whatsoever. For one, the technical difficulties, all the issues that I always have with YouTube and streaming. So YouTube, once again, if you're listening or watching, help me out and figure it the hell out. And then with Penn State football, I tell you what, it is so hard to watch right now. It honestly is. We go back 2 weeks ago at Indiana. Turnovers and penalties killed them to the core. If they didn't have as many penalties and turnovers as they did, they would have won that game. It wouldn't have even gone to overtime. They would have been up by like 2 scores. And they wouldn't have needed a touchdown that, if they meant to score or not, or Indiana allowed them to score or not, beats me. I don't know. You know, they're going to say yes or no to both regardless, so it is what it is, but still, like, come on. It's the mental part of it. It's not that hard. You know, play calling would be a little bit better. Okay, they might be actually doing something on offense. Last week, okay, yeah, they played one of the best teams in the country in Ohio State. End of story. We'll leave it at that. And then today, you're playing Maryland at home. You're down 21-0 a couple minutes into the second quarter. If anything needs fixed, it's the defense. They can't stop the goddamn run. They can't stop the pass. It's awful. This is so pathetic. Like, I'm to the point where, and I never, and I mean never ever, turn off a Penn State game. I'm getting close because this is so hard to watch right now. Fair catch signal for on a kick return once again at the 20-yard line. They did that, I believe, every single kickoff last week. Actually had a return earlier today, but fair catch signal for on the kickoff. Talk about Minnesota, who lost to Maryland in overtime last Friday night. They lead Illinois by 14. Hell, Penn State might get squared up against Illinois, or probably just Illinois out of the West because they're, you know, so goddamn bad and be winless potentially at the end of the season. Yeah, at that point, you don't win any games. You more so than not start over, whether you fire your coach or he leaves to go elsewhere. But Clifford, pass over the middle. It's going to be caught by Parker Washington. He's going to pick up about a few yards. It'll be second down and about 7, maybe 8, depending on the spot. But this is bad. This is so bad. Just awful. Just one, they can't run the ball. Clifford overthrown his targets. He can't even hardly run either. And then on defense, they can't stop anything today. And a tackle for loss in the backfield on the Maryland defense, bringing down Devin Ford back at the where the hell yard line that is. I don't even know. I'm not even. This is awful. I'm not even really that into it right now. This is just trying to zone out. Hell, I'd rather watch the blind play the blind, for God's sakes. Like, come on. 3rd and 14. Trips near side from the 21. After about a 5-yard loss on that run by Devin Ford. Clifford over the middle. It's going to be caught once again. That's Jahan Dotson though for the first time this afternoon. He gets to the 37. It'll be a first down. So pick up a 16. He has time to throw. He honestly does. I mean, the offensive line's not the problem this time around. They can actually block. But they can't run the ball for some reason. Normally when you can block, you should be able to run the football. You know? But when you can't block, you can't run the ball. This time around, it's, well, we can block, but we can't run for some reason. Why? I don't know. Because that doesn't make any sense. Now we got some pushing and shoving on the Maryland sideline. Devin Ford on the first down run.
Forget the back and forth. Get back in the huddle. Both sides. It's a nice job of gaining the edge, like they tried to get on the other side 2 plays earlier.
Big hit.
Oh, that's a nice hit.
Yeah, nice big hit. First down run there for Devin Ford and Penn State. 1st and 10 out past midfield at 48. But for, you know, like I said, some reason they can block, but they can't run running back position or quarterback. But Clifford has time to throw, but he overthrows his targets. Once again, does the same goddamn thing to Keandre Lambert-Smith over the middle. Jesus Christ. How bad can you play? What is this, Pee Wee?
Yeah, Lambert-Smith, just a freshman. He had the inside position.
Like, seriously.
He's a talented kid.
I don't even know what else to say. I don't. This is awful. 2nd and 10, they run it. Devin Ford. Okay, well, at least they're starting to get the run game going. If they can establish that and then still give Clifford time to throw and have him aired out and not overthrow his targets and complete some goddamn passes, maybe they'll put up some points. Or excuse me, that was Keziah Holmes. 26, not 28. True freshman back from Florida. It's right now Devin Ford, Kevon Lee, Keziah Holmes, because Journey Brown and Noah Kane are done for the season. So Keziah Holmes is going to stay in the ball game. Hey, run the hot hand. If he's running the ball better than Devin Ford and Kevon Lee, or vice versa for any three, so be it. Just establish this run game. He's going to pick up about 2 yards on that run. It'll be 2nd down and 8. 8.5 to play here in the first half. Penn State trailing by 3 touchdowns. It's 21-0.
Like Saquon Barkley used to do, perhaps, right? Well, you say, oh yeah, come on. You're overblowing things. Well, we actually had video of Saquon Barkley in the same drill, and look, the comparison.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many comparisons.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
Clifford out of the gun on 2nd and 9 officially. He's going to get up to the line. Play clock winding down.
In fall camp this year.
And Holmes once again on the carry, no pickup, as he's brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
Making the play.
Nice job right there. Pena did a good job. Again, know and do your job. Stay inside, work off the block, make the play.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have first half stats and scores, if we even have any stats. Maryland's shutting out Penn State as they did do the Terps last year. And take a look at the NFL this week, along with AEW Full Gear later on tonight, so stay tuned. But I tell you what, this is awful. This is just absolutely pathetic. Clifford, okay, slant over the middle. It's caught by Freiermuth. First down. Brought down around the 25-yard line, it looks like. He's wearing an armband, it looks like, on his right arm. We'll see Freiermuth with any pads or any extras down past his shoulders. But 1st and 10 from the 20. Clifford going to go deep on the fade far side. It's going to be caught by Jahan Dotson for a Penn State touchdown. So, okay, they're inching their way back. I mean, there's still a lot of football to be played, but still not looking good by me. It's 21-6. 6.5 to play in the first half. Both teams, all 3 timeouts remain. Just, this is awful. Just awful. I don't care if they just scored or not. Penninger on for the extra point. There's a simple fade, a little back shoulder, and Dotson went up for it and came down with it for a touchdown. So I'll take it. I'll take the 6, especially the way they played. This goes back to them, going for a 4th down, losing momentum because they didn't get it. Should have kicked it. Hey, just think if they would have kicked it, everything else works out the way it did. Whether Maryland's still up by 3 scores or not, it's 21-10. Not 21-7. Defense still has to make some goddamn plays, so I tell you what, I mean, if you can't stop, a fullback who's playing running back, by the looks of it, and you're giving up penalties again, along with not being able to stop the pass. A quick slant over the middle for 5 yards. They can't tackle. Like, come on. Like, there's something up. That's why I said going back. Oh, well, they don't play like this in practice. Well, no, I don't believe that until they, start, showing that on the field. But it's like, week 1 against Indiana. Well, technically, like week 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the hell week it is for college football, because they started late. They didn't play bad. I mean, they missed a few field goals, that shit ton of penalties and turnovers, but then sort of got screwed at the end. But that was then. This is now. I mean, you still got to play on. You still got to fix all your mistakes, and to an extent they have, but not really. Because it honestly seems like they're getting worse, to be honest with you. Run game getting there, still not to where it needs to be, though, and they know that. I mean, Clifford with a passing touchdown there to Dawson. He's the number 1 receiver. Parker Washington somewhat stepping up behind him, which is a good sign, especially because he's only a true freshman. Fryermuth, the tight end, they're finally getting him the ball a little bit more. He can't be overthrowing his targets, though, for one. And like I said, it's not like they can't block. They can block, but they can't run the ball for some reason. Like, how's that add up? That doesn't make any sense. And then you have all the missed throws before that touchdown, of course. The momentum, they should have kicked it, but they didn't. And then Maryland, who beat Minnesota, who's beating Illinois now today. They're just torching the Penn State defense is all it is. I mean, they're running all over them, they're passing all over them, and normally if it's the defense can keep them in the game, okay, the offense is going to be scoring points later, and it'll get close and come down to the wire. But this time around, it's like if the offense, if this makes any sense, I don't even know if it does, can keep them in the game. I get they're down, they got to continue to score and get back in it. I mean, the defense has to make stops though, and they got to keep the offense in the game. So I mean, it's both ways. It's always like that, but more so today than not. It seems like even if the defense needs to do more than the offense, yeah, the offense needs to do more than defense to get back in it, but the defense needs to step the hell up. I don't even really know what the hell I just said there, but I don't even know if it makes any sense. But still, another missed tackle, Brandon Smith. Come on. Come on. What the hell? Poor tackling, poor coverage. Can't stop the run, can't stop the pass. But overall, with what I was saying, to me, I mean, it just seems like the offense is going to have to keep them in this game. And the defense, okay, if we get a stop, we get a stop. If not, well, offense will bail us out with points, if they can score. Because this defense right now cannot stop a goddamn thing. This is awful. This is pathetic. This is one of the worst Penn State defensive performances I've seen in quite a while. I mean, you can say shortened season, conference only 8-game schedule all you want, but they've had enough time to do what they need to do. They're in the same boat as everyone else. It's just, like I said earlier, I'm at the point where power button for the TV is going to be hit, and honestly, probably the first time I've ever turned game off because I'm so sick and tired of watching it because they can't. Joey Porter Jr. on the stop there on the screen near side, but still about a yard or so in the pickup. North Allegheny product from down in Pittsburgh. Son of Joey Porter, who played for the Steelers, Dolphins, the Cardinals. But still, need some stops. Need some stops. I don't know. I mean, you guys are probably sitting here just laughing your ass off listening to me bitch and complain about this, which, more power to you. But flag comes in, this will probably be an offside or a false start. Could be a free play for Maryland. If so, it's going to be a pass over the middle complete for a first down. Jesse Lucada from the great White North on the stop. 3rd and 7, so 5-yard offside. Be 3rd and 2, but they'll decline the penalty. Automatic first down because they just picked up a first down on the pass. It was on Jason Owa, number 28, defensive end. I mean, they've battled some injuries on defense too, but that's still no excuse. It's next man up. I mean, like I said, they're young, not as young as what they were in 2014 or 15 when Franklin came in, one of the youngest teams in all college football. Unranked for the first time since 2016 today, before the Ohio State blocked field goal return for a touchdown game. Handoff from Tulia Tungalovoa, no gain. On the play, it'll be 2nd and 10. Like, something's got to give. Like, there's no reason for this. They're young. They're experienced, though. Most of these players have played, for the most part, in all the games that they've been a part of the team on from start to finish. And with that, they have depth because they have more, of course, incoming youngsters. And with eligibility out the window this year, it's a free year for everybody. And if they're going to be playing like this, the rest of the season, and some of these games are actually going to be good because Nebraska's 0-2, Penn State could be 0-3 going to that game now next week if this keeps up. Iowa, they're 1-2. They beat Michigan State today. Michigan lost to Indiana. Rutgers, Michigan State. I mean, the schedule, honestly, it's tough, but it's not that bad with the way they're playing. Like, they're winnable games. And that's because of the way they're playing and the way their opponents have been playing as of late. Tulia Tungalovoa pass over the middle to the far side, incomplete. Jonathan Sutherland, number 0 for Penn State, number 0 in college football, brand new this year. Formerly wore 26 in the secondary. Took over the 0 just within the past few months. He was on the coverage. Pass fell incomplete out of bounds. So 4th down and 7 for Maryland. Jahan Dawson back deep to receive this punt. It's 21-7 Terps over the Lions with 2:50 to play in the first half. And the ball going to bounce around the 5-yard line and then take a Penn State hop to the 11. So it'll be 1st and 10 Nitwits from the 11 with, about 2.5 to play in the first half. All 3 timeouts, down 14. Just think if they would have kicked the field goal. Okay, it's 21-10 if everything else plays out the way it did. They're getting the ball back, 3 timeouts, 2.5 to play. They drive, score, down 4 into halftime, potentially at 21-17. The way they played, I'll take it. And then it's a whole new ball game in the second half. Take it to the 4th quarter and, may the best team win. But even a 7-point deficit at halftime, if they'd score on this upcoming drive, the way they played in the first half so far, I'll take it. Down 21-14 on halftime potentially. But play calling needs to be better. Just everything. Play calling, need to run the ball better, need to throw the ball better. Blocking's not that bad, honestly, like I've said. Defense needs to step up and make some goddamn plays, though, I tell you what. I mean, they have, a few 3-and-outs now by Maryland, but that one drive and back-to-back drives, actually, literally the same play, went for the same touchdown. From, around the same yardage, too, as well. And then they, on their last drive there, before they just punted on this past one, after a penalty, on 2nd and long, Maryland runs it in for a score. And then Penn State finally gets on the board, but still, this is just awful. And no wonder they're in last place in the Big Ten East. Said earlier with Northwestern and Purdue, potential matchups for Big Ten Champions Week. But if it keeps up, they're going to be playing either Illinois, Minnesota, or Nebraska by the looks of it. And they play Nebraska next week, so either Illinois or Minnesota because they don't play them. But it's just going to depend on how everything shakes out. And we'll get there when we get there. You got to take it one play, one game at a time. Getting a little too far ahead of myself. So is Clifford. At least he didn't overthrow Fryermuth on that pass, but pass down the far sideline, incomplete into double coverage. Intended for Friarmuth, 87. It falls incomplete. So 2nd and 10 with 2.5 to play here in the first half. 21-7 Maryland on top of Penn State, if you're just now tuning in. 2nd and 10 from the 11. Clifford pass for sideline once again, incomplete. Center for Jahan Dodson. Okay, so now here's their thinking. Well, we can't run the ball. Clifford, he overthrows his targets. So let's just go deep every play from now on. And hopefully they come down with it and, he doesn't throw an interception. If they lose, honestly, they need not to play on this date, November the 7th, ever again, because they haven't won since 1987. Last time they won on this very date in 1987, it was against Maryland. So, history on their side in that matter, but still, come on. Clifford going to elude the sack. Going to stiff arm a man, pick up a first down at the 25-yard line, so still 3 timeouts, first down. Good, very, very good run there on 3rd and long. At least on 3rd down, they're making some plays and picking up a first, but some better field position now at the 25-yard line. Your normal starting position for a drive, but after that punt, ball was down at the 11. 2 incompletions and then a tuck and run on the quarterback keeper. Clifford once again looking to throw. Overthrows his intended target to 42. And Brenton Strange, 86, his intended target, incomplete, 2nd and 10. And whether or not they're saying, well, we're not playing well because we don't have any fans there. Well, there are some people there for both teams, friends, family, coaches, and players. But yeah, I get not 110,000 strong by any means, but still. They just go and play football, for God's sakes. It's not that hard. Clifford looking to throw. Over the middle. What the hell are you doing? Another overthrow intended for Strange and Keandre Lambert-Smith. And by no means necessary, no, do not make a quarterback change. Clifford's the best quarterback they have. The ball's just sailing on him again like it did a couple weeks ago. So it's not the wind, even though the wind might be playing a factor in the second half with it getting into the night. Pass near side, incomplete, intended for Friarmuth. And they can't even move the ball 20 yards. And take not even a minute off the clock. Okay, they picked up 1 first down, but then they 3 straight plays. Incomplete, incomplete, incomplete. 4th down, Maryland going to get the ball back with 1:40 to play in the first half. Up 2 scores, 21-7, with all 3 timeouts. They scored before halftime. This game's probably over. How the hell do they expect to get back in this game? Down 3 scores at halftime. I don't care where you're playing at. I care if you're playing at Beaver Stadium, Polo Grounds, your backyard. No. Fair catch signal for. Maryland will have the ball. 1:41 to play. All 3 timeouts. Ball going to be at the 39-yard line. Maryland has to be happy. Don't get me wrong, and credit to them. They're playing 10 times better. This is just absolutely pathetic. This is awful. I honestly don't even know what else to say. I don't. Other than just sit here, call it as I see it, and whatever the hell happens, happens.
Well, the first 2 scores that Maryland had here in the first half took about 1:30 and about 2:33.
Because if they can't run the ball, Clifford can't throw it, can't play defense. They might even been offsides on that. Pressure. Off the edge, screen, top of your screen. Mustafer along with Drew Castro Fields on the stop. That was going to be a missed tackle there. Brandon Smith coming in late as well. About a few-yard pickup there. 2nd down, I'd say 6 or 7. 2nd and 6, they say, officially. 1:20 to play in the first half. Ball at the 33. Talia Tunglovilla going to roll out now near side. Throws it, and it's going to be incomplete. Almost picked off by Curtis Jacobs, who's a true freshman backer from the Mid-Atlantic. Yeah, that would have been a big turnover. Hakeem, the Dream, Beeman on the pressure. 3rd down and 6. Need a stop. If they can get a stop here, force a punt, get it back with some good field position and 2 or 3 timeouts, depending if they call one. Drive, get in field goal range, you'll get your field goal back. Nope. 1st down completion over the middle, out past midfield. Some poor tackling to the 37-yard line goes Maryland. Now Penn State with 1:03 to play here. They're not going to be calling any timeouts by any means. Maryland, in the meantime, we'll see if they if they decide to continue to drive, which they are, of course, but pass over the middle, incomplete, under a minute to play now here in the first half. So the incompletion going to help them out. Clock's going to stop. They still have 3 timeouts. 2nd and 10. This is just a team at a higher level right now than Penn State. And the Maryland team that showed up last week's the one that showed up today, unlike the one that lost by 40 week 1 against Northwestern. Quarterback handoff on the draw.
You cannot get that song out of your head, can you? I'll tell you, that's 1976 Parliament. Can I upgrade you to Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars to be a little bit more contemporary? I don't know who that is.
Matt Millen wants to get his funk on, by the sounds of it. Him and Lisa Byington on the call for the Big Ten Network. Halftime should be exciting for him. But need a stop on defense. I mean, I tell you what, this is just pathetic. Like I said, I don't even know what else to say anymore. I don't. It's just awful. This is... some of the worst Penn State football I've ever witnessed, to be honest with you. I mean, they've been bad, but they've probably been worse than this, to be honest with you, but still, it's been a while, so it's tough. It's just frustrating. Wide open, oh my God. How the hell do you let somebody get wide open? That wide open, for that matter. Tulia Tungalovo, another passing touchdown. 3 now in the first half. He had 3 all last game in overtime, too, in the win against Minnesota. 27-7 now. Maryland leading Penn State. And a 19-year record for the Nittany Lions to start out 0-3 is about to be broken. About 30 minutes and some odd change to go of football time until that, of course, happens. This keeps up. And by the looks of it, like I just said, they score here again before halftime. This game's more so than over. Probably. This game's probably over. Maryland up 28-7. And talk about, you know, hot seats with some coaches. Don't be shocked he gets run out of town by the end of the year. This keeps up. He was smart. He'd bolt for the NFL, honestly. And then, of course, I've always kept a list of potential candidates. Not going to get into that today by any means. But if, as we talked about Michigan earlier with Harbaugh, if, of course, that, you know, does in fact happen, say tomorrow, start 0-3, oh, we're going to fire you. I don't see that happening. Like I said, Utah State fired Gary Anderson earlier today. They started 0-3. Former Wisconsin head coach that left to go to Oregon State. He was at Utah State, came to Wisconsin. Left Wisconsin for Oregon State. Got fired there. Utah State brought him back and they fired him again. Maryland on a kickoff. So Penn State right now, they have to look themselves in the mirror.
I guess maybe that's the piece that maybe surprised me.
Just take a goddamn knee and go into halftime. Doesn't even run a play.
But the story
This
to
is
me
awful.
is Tagovailoa.
I am so mad, sick and tired
He's dead accurate.
of.
Same things we talked about on the front end of this thing.
I don't even know what to say. This is awful.
With what their head coach was
Just,
talking about, we say, look, this is what we
it's
expect.
pathetic. It is so frustrating right now.
I think Mike Loxley is obviously pleased.
Just so frustrating.
The total yards, the discrepancy, 337 to 142 in this first half.
Clifford looking to throw. He's going to be brought down in the sack. Just call it a goddamn day. Just call it a day.
No place to throw the football, so it's not all on the quarterback. You got to have
This-
guys who are open.
I'm
Nice job by this Maryland defense of running with these receivers.
I'm just going to shut the hell up. I don't know what to say. You guys have chat questions or comments, let me know. I'll answer them. From the 22, 2nd and 13, Clifford going to air it out deep, almost picked off. 10 for TJ Jones, number 10, playing in his first game this afternoon. All the technical issues on my end, earlier. Of course, yeah, frustrating, and then them not playing. Just, watch, they won't get it on 3rd down 13 here. They'll have to punt. Maryland's going to get the ball back with less than 14 seconds to play here. And then Penn State's luck, they'll return a punt for a touchdown. Handoff up the middle. So 4th down, we'll see if Maryland calls a timeout with 7 seconds, 8 seconds. Did they seriously just call a timeout? I was just joking.
This is a Maryland defense that had given up 40 points.
Maryland just forced another Penn State punt with 8 seconds to play here in the first half. Yeah, Maryland just called a timeout. Hey, kudos to them, credit, They're coming into Happy Valley, and they are literally right now beating the holy living hell and all the snot that comes with it out of Penn State. And the Terps right now are getting revenge from last year. They got shut out 59-0 against Penn State, and now they're shutting out Penn State 28-7 now. Penn State on to punt. Fair catch at the 34. Maryland's going to have it. They will get the ball back on offense. 1st and 10 with 4 seconds to play. They'll probably just take a knee. Why don't you just take a shot? Why the hell not? Maryland, for the first time since joining the Big Ten, 21 plus points in the first half of back-to-back conference games past 2 weeks. That's a pretty good stat right there. And they've been in the conference now for 7 years, as long as Franklin's been the head coach at Penn State. Maryland is going to take a knee. So at half, it's 28-7 Maryland over Penn State. I do not know what to say. I don't. See if we got any news, by any means. Doesn't look like it. How do you honestly talk to your team and tell them how they played in the first half right now? Do you literally have to fix everything? This is awful. Maybe, yeah, a little overrated at the start of the year ranking-wise. Not bothered by any opt-outs. It's next man up. You play with the players you have regardless of whatever the situation is. Don't care what level it's at or who the player was. It's next man up. You play with the players you have. They cannot, for the love of God, play defense in any aspect. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. Can't tackle. They can't cover. Hell, I'm surprised they haven't had any on their end because they've punted so much. Any Maryland blocked punts. Like, I don't know what to say. This is awful. Stats. And no wonder they're 0-2 and unranked for the first time in a couple years. You know? If they had an unranked poll, 1 to 25, they'd be at 303. It's just, it is so frustrating because you know the potential that they have. We know that, they know that. You know? It's just so, this is so hard to watch. And no offense to Maryland, like last week, they played pretty damn well against Minnesota, you know, came back and won in overtime. Week 1 against Northwestern, they got blown out. Credit Northwestern. Northwestern's 3-0 for first time since 2000. They're looking pretty good. Wisconsin doesn't make the Big Ten title game. It's going to be Northwestern against Ohio State for the second time in a couple of years. But if Wisconsin, you know, eventually makes it, after they get through their COVID issues that they currently have going on, you know, Northwestern would play, because they're like the second best team in the West right now, it seems like. After a 3-win campaign last year. They have as many wins right now as they did all last year. Shortened season, yeah, I get it, but still. Penn State, in the meantime, 10 wins, Cotton Bowl win, 0-2 on the verge of going to 0-3. So, yeah, they'll get matched up with either Minnesota or Illinois if it keeps up. Probably Illinois if they, you know, will be last. But, I mean, hell, Rutgers isn't looking bad. They'll probably get blown out tonight against Ohio State, but they beat Michigan State. And then Michigan State, of course, beat Michigan. And then Michigan State got blown out by Iowa today. So Penn State plays in 2 weeks. Right here in Happy Valley. Iowa, Penn State in 2 weeks. They go to Nebraska next Saturday. They'll play then at Michigan, at Rutgers, and then Michigan State at home. But still. Halftime highlights, I mean, just show the 3 passing touchdowns and the run. And it's all Maryland. Because Penn State hasn't done a goddamn thing. Clifford has the pass to Jahan Dotson for a touchdown, but that's it. Literally the same play on back-to-back drives. Yeah, they don't even show any of the. They show the 2 passing touchdowns, the same exact play, and it's 28-7. They don't even show the rest. So, Tulia, his younger brother, 14-19, 246 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in the first half today on the road against Penn State. Funk has 10 carries for 64 yards in a score, acting like Jackie Moon on that touchdown run. Get the funk out of my face. And putting up 7 for the Terps against Penn State's defense. Jarrett for Maryland, 5 catches for 144 yards and 2 scores. And then a catch for Jones for 12 yards. A catch for Boone for 9 yards. A catch for Cobbs for 8 yards.
Looks very, very uncomfortable, and the receivers have been covered pretty tight, so good effort all around for Maryland.
Yeah, I think Maryland's done an outstanding job, but you have to ask the question.
Dumas Walker has 4 catches for 69 yards in a score.
In any of the 3 phases of the game, they're going to have to pick that up.
Penn State on the flip side, Sean Clifford 6 of 20 for 78 yards in a score.
The most in a home game since 2001, and they are on a pace to have that greatly exceeded in this one. Again, Maryland.
Penn State trailing by 21. It's 28-7. Maryland on top of Penn State half.
Let's check in on the
Clifford's
other
passing
game,
touchdown to
Minnesota and Illinois. Tracy
Dotson.
Potts.
He has 2 catches for 36
Therefore, the
yards.
Gophers already over 300 yards of offense.
Penn State
For
rushing.
Minnesota.
Devin Ford, 6 of 26.
Reigning Big Ten receiver of the year, Rashad
Sean Clifford's tied
in favor of the
in
Gophers.
rushing yards with Devin Ford.
In the
8
first
carries for 26 yards.
Already 3 games in the books.
And then Keziah Holmes, 311, and Kevon Lee, 1 of 3.
Northwestern staying perfect, and the Hawkeyes bouncing back.
Pat Fryermuth, 2 of 27 receiving, and Parker Washington, 2 of 15. 28-7 Maryland at the half.
Just got real. iPhone 12 Pro Max and
Just
iPhone 12 Mini are here on Verizon
pathetic.
5G.
Absolutely pathetic.
The coverage of 5G nationwide and in more cities, the performance of 5G ultra wideband, the fastest 5G in the world.
Whoa, mobile gaming just got infinitely better.
Pre-order iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Go ahead, field another team. They'll probably play better. You know?
The 5G phone everyone wants. The 5G.
Just said earlier, I mean, if it gets any worse today, the rest of the season, eligibility doesn't mean a factor. Isn't a factor doesn't mean a thing, I should say. You know, give them freshmen and sophomores, give some of those younger guys more playing time than you anticipated, and get them in and give them playing time so they know what the hell it's like. I mean, Curtis Jacobs and TJ Jones, we're seeing that from them both today. Defense needs stops, though. Somebody else to step up at receiver. They can't run the ball still. Clifford can't even hit his targets. Like, everything that could possibly go wrong, throw it into your dryer and hit start. Because that's literally what's happening right now, what's going on in the first half of Penn State. Anything and everything has gone wrong for the Nittany Lions. They cannot run, they cannot throw, they cannot play defense. Honestly, it really all started for me when, in my opinion at least, when they went for it on 4th down there, when they probably should have kicked it. Momentum switched, Maryland scored, and, well, they were already up 7. Scored again, up 14. And then, okay, Penn State finally gets on the board, but it's just 3 passing touchdowns in the first half. He had 3 all last week. Almost 300 passing yards given up. Man wide open in the end zone for a score. Literally gave up 2 touchdowns on the same play. It's like, you know, Maryland's playing on easy on NCAA football right now against the, you know, unranked, unbeaten Penn State team. That can't cover. Gave up 2 touchdowns on the same play, back-to-back drives. Wide open, then they can't stop the run on a simple sweep, far side, after a penalty that went against Maryland. Second and long, oh, we're just going to run up the gut. You know, oh, we scored. We'll take the points. Yeah, hell yeah. So, 28-7 Maryland on top of Penn State at the half once again, if you're just now tuning in. If you have chat questions or comments, let me know. Super chats, super stickers, always greatly appreciated as well. Just overall, once again, just frustrating. Just so goddamn frustrating. You know, when they started out 0-3 and 0-1, they started out 0-4. You know, they lost to Miami. 9/11, of course, games were paused. And then they lost 3 in a row in conference play. And I think they've lost 3 consecutive games in conference since then, but I'm not 100% certain. If you guys will look that up by any means and let me know, that'd be greatly appreciated. But when they started 0-3 and then started 0-4 and 0-1, they finished strong. okay? They had a few game winning streaks. Finished at 5-6. Not enough, not good enough for a bowl game though. Of course, before 2002 rolled around, lose to Auburn in the Citrus Bowl, Larry Johnson's final year. 2002, around the time when I started watching college football in the NFL. But then 03 and 04, they were awful. Just absolutely awful. But then, since 2005, every year since, they've had a winning season. And now this year, okay, your back's already against the wall. You know, 2020 is 2020. It's COVID-19. Shortened 8-game conference-only schedule. You know, you're already down a few steps. And then when you continue to, you know, dig a hole for yourself you can't climb out of, you know, what do you expect? You know, honestly, what do you expect? 0-2, 0-3 potentially. I mean, they keep this up, they might not even win a goddamn game. I've said, you know, 2 weeks ago, Indiana, 4-4, 5-3 at best, probably. Same thing after last week, but today, like, couple wins, maybe, if that. Seriously, I mean, it's awful. This is so pathetic. They know they can play better. We all know they can play better. It's just, for some reason, they can't play better. I don't know what it is. It's not like, and credit, okay, Indiana's going to be a top 10 team potentially. We knew they were better coming in. Knew Maryland was potentially better, just depending on what team was going to show up today. With the way, you know, they played so far this season. And the Maryland team that showed up so far today is the one that beat Minnesota last week. But this is how it was last week, too. They were up. Minnesota started coming back, blew a lead, and then Maryland won in overtime because of a missed extra point by the Golden Gophers. And then, of course, Ohio State's Ohio State. Right? Okay. But there's still no reason for it. None whatsoever. Seeing some highlights now. Indiana beat Michigan. It's another top 25 win for the Hoosiers, as they are 3-0, 13th ranked in all the land. Indiana's turned their program around. They are. If Tom Allen stays, the Hoosiers in the Big Ten East might be a force to be reckoned with year in and year out against Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State for that matter. Going back to that game 2 weeks ago, you know, like I said, yeah, they got screwed at the end. And there's no way in hell that was a good conversion. But, you know, that's what it was called on the field. Not enough to overturn it, so it's called. I said that game, I had picked Indiana to defeat Tennessee, and you can go back and check in last year's Gator Bowl. And they should have won, but they came up a little short. Vols ended up beating them by a few. Tennessee actually plays the Hogs of Arkansas later on tonight. Some good college football later on tonight too. Iowa with a 49-7 win at home against Michigan State, picking up their first win of the season. They lost to Purdue and Northwestern. Northwestern Purdue meet next week, basically for the leaders spot in the Big Ten West, because Wisconsin hasn't played since the Big Ten began 2 weeks ago on a Friday night against Illinois. Supposed to play Nebraska last week. The game was obviously canceled. Supposed to play Purdue today. The game was obviously canceled as well due to COVID. Nebraska lost to Ohio State week 1. Off last week because of that cancellation. Just lost at Northwestern earlier today. As well, Florida, Georgia currently going on in Jacksonville. We've got AEW Full Gear about to begin in a few short hours as well, so we'll preview that coming up here shortly, so stay tuned for those. But currently at the half, Maryland leads Penn State 28-7. Also in college football this week, This past Wednesday, we saw the return of the MAC. Maction. Kent State actually had a few good games. The Golden Flashes defeated the Eastern Michigan Eagles by 4, 27-23. Western Michigan also defeated Akron 58-13. Buffalo 49-30 over Northern Illinois. That was actually a good game at halftime, and then come second half, Buffalo sort of blew them out on the road. Central Michigan at home defeated Ohio in Johnstown's own Frank Stolich 30-27. Miami, Ohio 38-31 over Ball State. Toledo 38-3 over Bowling Green. Thursday night this past week, we saw Nevada defeat Utah State 34-9. Gary Anderson then fired earlier by the Aggies. Today, Colorado State 34-24 over Craig Bowl and Wyoming. And then last night, as mentioned earlier, the U, Miami, top 15 team, went on the road and defeated NC State. As the Hurricanes won over the Wolfpack by 3 in the ACC, 44-41. San Jose State 28-17 over San Diego State. Penn State was actually supposed to play San Jose State this season, of course, though, due to COVID and non-conference games. The game was canceled. BYU put up 51 on Boise State on the road last night, 51-17. BYU, in my opinion, is for real. If, say, because you take a look at the top 25, you have honestly really only Cincinnati ahead of them. That's non-Power 5. As BYU, of course, is an independent still, playing some Mountain West teams since they're back now too. If something potentially happens and BYU's sitting there undefeated, they could be potentially that 4th team into the college football playoff. Now everyone's saying, okay, expand the playoff this year because of everything going on. Well, honestly, they probably should expand the playoff to begin with. Everybody wants 8. Give me 6. I get the NFL just wants 7 in each league, 14 overall. But college football playoff, just go to 6 teams, because you always are going to have that, 5th and 6th team right on the outside looking in. That could have, made some noise, with an upset win potentially in the semis. But it looks like it'll be staying at 4 for the time being. But BYU is one of those teams to potentially keep an eye out for still. They're 8-0 now. And the last few times they started out 7 and 8-0, they've won 10 games in those respective seasons. So the Cougs looking pretty damn good out in Provo. That was a good game last night, actually, on the road. Big win for them against Boise State. But today, in college football, we had, as mentioned, Indiana defeat Michigan 38-21. SMU over Temple down in Philadelphia 47-23. USC 28-27 over Arizona State. Texas beat WVU 17-13. Liberty on a game-winning field goal defeated Virginia Tech 38-35. Memphis with a 1-point win as well, 34-33 at home over South Florida. Tulane 38-21 over East Carolina. Duke and Carolina in football, not college basketball. Tar Heels beat the Blue Devils 56-24. Georgia State 52-34 over Louisiana Monroe. As mentioned, both Northwestern and Iowa winners. Wildcats over the Cornhuskers by 8, 21-13. Penn State at Nebraska next week. Penn State will then host Iowa in 2 weeks. Hawkeyes defeated the Spartans of Michigan State 49-7. Louisiana Lafayette 27-7 over Arkansas State. Georgia Southern 20-13 over Troy. Boston College with another big win, looking pretty good in back now with the second half of Penn State Maryland. It's 28-7. See what James Franklin potentially had to say. But BC looking pretty damn good in Jeff Hafley's first year at the helm. 3-point win in that rivalry in the Northeast with the Boston College Eagles and the Syracuse Orange. Over the middle, sorry for any technical difficulties. So now 2nd and 10 as we begin the second half for Penn State. Clifford on a quarterback keeper. Quarterback draw right off the bat from the get-go. Sean Clifford for about 12 yards. First down, Penn State. Currently, right now in college football, Marshall is beating UMass 51-10. North Alabama and Southern Miss tied at 13, fourth quarter. App State by 2 scores, 24-10 over Texas State. Florida blowing out Georgia in the first half, 38-21, a high-scoring affair in Jacksonville. Better quarterback play, winning that ball game. We got a couple flags come from behind the line of scrimmage, just to be coming back. Pass was complete far side from Clifford to John Dawson for about 8 yards, but we're going to have a few holdings, it looks like, on Penn State. Holding on Penn State. That was on Will French Fries. Curled up on the defender. He must like his curly fries. But big holding call against Penn State. 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 20. Trips on top of your screen from 26. Clifford over the middle on the slant is caught. And then Fryermuth gets to the 42. So they make up the 10 yards on the hold. It'll be 2nd and what? 5, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. Hurry up here by Penn State. Making sure that was a catch, whether it was or not. They get the next play off. 2nd and 4 officially. And then the running back of Devin Ford, 28, gets the carry. And he's going to be about a good yard short, yeah. Be 3rd and 1. So they do here on 3rd and 1. They'll go deep. They'll go deep down the sideline and be incomplete rather than running up the gut. Or run a screen or a quick curl route. Or just a simple, short pass. Play the sticks. Move the chains. You don't need, Clifford gonna roll out near side. He's gonna take a sack. He gets rid of the ball. And this looks to be a fumble. Maryland has it. And now Maryland's going to return it for a touchdown. And can this game get any worse? Honestly, can this game get any worse? Yeah. I'm James Franklin. All I can do is stand here, shake my head, talk to my assistant coaches in the headset, look up at the scoreboard, see if it was a fumble or not, and cross my arms. That's a fumble. Why the hell didn't you just get rid of it and throw it away? And why are you running play action on 3rd and 1? Run the damn ball. So now a fumble return, scoop and score for a touchdown for Maryland, and the Terps are up 35-7 on Penn State. So much for people expecting Penn State to cover, wink wink. As I said earlier, I didn't think at that point in time before the game started that they'd cover. They're 25, 27, 28 and a half point favorites coming in, and they're losing now by 28. Like, come on. This honestly isn't that much of a shock, but what's shocking about it is that Maryland's up 28. I'd understand if we're tied right now. Low scoring affair. Penn State still can't do anything. But credit to Maryland. They are literally capitalizing on everything that Penn State has done wrong today. They are capitalizing on that along with just playing better than the Nittany Lions. Penn State cannot stop them whatsoever. So on Penn State's opening drive in the second half, a fumble with a scoop and score. Maryland now up 35-7 on Penn State. Now in back-to-back years, honestly, in this rivalry with Penn State and Maryland, could have two of the largest victories by both teams. Penn State with a 59-0 win last year on the road. Maryland up 28 here, early third quarter, 35-7 over the Nittany Lions. And Penn State with the loss. I'm already going to call it. There's no way in hell they're coming back and winning this. They're going to fall to 0-3 for the first time since 2001. Like, this game is absolutely over unless they pull 10,000 magic tricks out of their ass and literally stop Maryland on every single play from here on out and get back in it. They'd still need like 10 overtimes to win it, though, probably. Jahan Dotson over the middle. It's complete to him. First down, Penn State. Get back to some of these scores. At the half, it was late second quarter there just a moment ago. At the half, though, now Florida 38-21 over Georgia. Cincinnati 28-10 over Houston at the half as well. Keziah Holmes on the give up the middle, about 6 yards for him, maybe 7. It'll be second down, Penn State. Oklahoma 31-3 over Kansas. Les Miles is probably going to be fired. James Franklin wouldn't be a bad fit for Kansas. Be safe, Penn State fans. Minnesota 28-7 at the half on the road against Illinois. Mississippi State 17-0 over Vanderbilt. Hey, I'm sure Vanderbilt's going to be hiring. Derek Mason probably going to get fired. I don't get why the hell he's still the head coach. Maybe Franklin will take that job back. Give the Commodores something to cheer about, maybe. First down, Penn State after another run there by Keziah Holmes, I do believe. As he's the go-to back right now here in the second half on this second drive. It was Devin Ford last time, but Clifford over the middle now, incomplete on the slant, intended for Keandre Lambert-Smith. He's from down 7.57. And we'll continue to get into AW full year predictions coming up shortly with Kip Sabian and Miro not on tonight's card. So, get into full gear shortly. Arguably AW's best pay-per-view card in their short history. Clifford on the play action, looking to throw far side. It's going to be caught. And there's Daniel George. All right. Number 11, Daniel George for about 13. It'll be another first down for Penn State. At least he's playing. At least he's playing. Still no Cam Sullivan-Brown. I don't understand, other than if it's an injury or academic-wise, which I'm leaning towards the latter because, I mean, I get they really don't talk about injuries. Going to have a false start on Penn State. 5 yards, they'll replay first down. Shoot themselves in the foot once again with penalties.
So now it'll be first and 15.
Why don't you turn the ball over some more and have them score on it too? All they are doing. Let's get some shovels, okay? Let's go dig a trench or two. Another flag. Another false start by Penn State. Jesus Christ. First and 20 now. Just continue to dig, your grave. Yeah, that's a false start. Back-to-back false starts. Just continue to, dig yourselves a bigger hole, why don't you? That's all they're doing. And they can't get out of it. This is awful. This is so goddamn awful. Clifford tucks it and runs. That's all he does on offense anymore, other than overthrows receivers. Play calling, if it was a little bit better, instead of running zone reads up the middle every goddamn play, maybe they'd score more than 7 points. Like, Jesus Christ. under 10 now here in the third quarter. 35-7 Maryland on top of Penn State. They don't have anybody to move on to. Clifford over the middle, complete to Parker Washington. So, Dotson and Washington, they are the playmakers today for Penn State. It will be 3rd and 1. He was short of the line to gain. You have Will Levis backing him up. He can't play quarterback worth of shit. 3rd and 1, Keziah Holmes up the middle. It looks like he got it, but we'll see where they spot the ball. We might have to bring Chain Gang out. No offense to Will Levis wearing his Wranglers. I mean, he's not bad, but Clifford's, of course, better. I mean, we can see that, but Clifford's just not playing well. I mean, so if, you got to make a change, you got to make a change, but, Maryland, in the meantime, going to call a timeout there first here in the second half. And then, you take a look at the depth chart. You got Taquan Roberson, who played against Rutgers last year in the home finale. As Penn State last week on Halloween and now tonight, playing their first home games in almost a year. That was right after Thanksgiving last year. And now, they'll go the whole way into mid-December with how the schedule is. But, and then you got a true freshman from Vegas and Micah Bones. I don't know what he's got by any means, but, if it's better than this, and they know it, why don't you throw him in and play him? It's just not necessarily Clifford. It's all of them, Penalties, shoot themselves in the foot again. Turnover there on the fumble, scoop and score for a touchdown. All they're doing is just continuing to dig themselves a bigger hole. That's all they're doing, and they can't get out of it. That's the overall 2020 season so far for Penn State, 3 games in. Well, not even 3 full games in, but you get my point. They can sort of block up front, but they can't run the ball. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. And Clifford, when he throws, he overthrows his targets. But at least for the most part, they have 2 good receivers now in Dotson and Parker Washington for the time being. By the looks of it, at least. But the defense can't stop the run. They can't cover. They can't tackle. The field goal earlier that they didn't go for, I think that's when it all started today, at least. The momentum switched, and Maryland was already up, and they took advantage of that, drove and scored again. Same play. And, the rest is basically history from that. Penn State just... They're about 3 games in, and we'll say 15 feet per quarter per game, so you folks can do the math on that. But they're up shit creek without a paddle right now is where they're at. They cannot do a damn thing. After the timeout, and a dropped pass by Parker Washington. A little high from Clifford, but he still could have caught it, and he dropped it. So now, 2nd and 10.
That's on Clifford. That's not on Washington.
So, this is just, I tell you what.
So see how he's starting to turn up the field, just kind of on his back shoulder?
It's so hard to watch. It honestly is. I don't think recently, for the most part. Clifford over the middle. It's going to be caught. Nope, incomplete. Dropped by Fryermuth. No flag on the... now here comes a late flag. Potentially a pass interference on Maryland. Penn State going to luck out on that. That was an iffy call, I think.
Those are just staying on top. Good coverage.
Pass interference on Maryland. I mean, I'll take it. They're down 28. The refs probably feel bad for them now. but on the replay, I honestly didn't think it was a PI. Maybe a little bit. I mean, Fryermuth slipped and fell. That could go either way. I mean, they called it, so Penn State will take it, of course. 1st and 10 from the 11. Clifford out of the gun, left to right across your television screen. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. Another fade, far corner to Jahan Dotson, as I've been saying all goddamn day. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching. Incomplete to him. He's Penn State's #1 receiver, and he is the go-to, of course. He had 3 touchdowns last week. He's the best receiver they have. That's why I said earlier who's going to step up behind him at #2, and it's Parker Washington. But they still can't run the ball. If they'd be able to be a little balanced, it'd be potentially a different story right now. But then you got to go to the defensive side. They can't stop Maryland whatsoever. Clifford, in the meantime, going to go down on a sack back at the 16-yard line. So now 3rd down for the Nitwits. Another flag. So this might be another defensive hold or a pass interference on Maryland. We'll get back to some other scores around college football, with TCU leading Texas Tech by 14-17-3. Fresno State 27-17 over UNLV. Oklahoma State, Kansas State meeting in the Little Apple of Manhattan, Kansas. No foul for a hold or a pass interference on the Maryland defense, so 3rd down after the sack. Both teams lost last week. Kansas State at the half leading OK State 12-0. And then Pitt, they're leading Florida State on the road in Tallahassee, nearing halftime 24-14. We'll also continue to preview NFL Week 9 for tomorrow, AW full gear for later on tonight, and then also take a look at college football next week as well. So stay tuned. 3rd and 15 from the 16. Clifford rolling out. Do not take a sack. Just throw it away. Now you're out of field goal range back to the 33-yard line. Throw the damn ball away. Jesus Christ.
But he's looking for somebody to throw the football down the field to, and there's nobody there.
I don't care if there's nobody open downfield. You can tuck it and run. You've done that every play all 3 weeks. Ref fell down, took a little stumble behind him too, but just throw the ball away. They're probably not going to call intentional grounding, and if they do, it's going to be a bad call. 4th and 31. They're going to go for it. No, here comes Jordan Stout, or Jake Pinniger, excuse me, for a field goal from, we'll say 50 plus. I can't even see the ball. Camera was all over the place. Shanked it wide left, no good. So now you kick a field goal. Now you kick a field goal. You want to kick a 50-plus yard field goal after a sack by Clifford on back-to-back plays on 4th and 31, but you don't kick a field goal on your opening drive on 4th and short from inside the 10, and you go for it and you don't get it, and the momentum switched. Maryland's already up 7, and then it's been ball game ever since. Like, if the play calling was better, the players, I get coaches coach and players play, but if the play calling was better and the players were actually playing today, Penn State has not at least, showed up to play yet, even with the 7 points on the board from Clifford to Dotson in the first half on the fade. And they almost had another one on that, but then 2 consecutive sacks, and here we are, missed field goal. Jake Pinniger, kicker, missing a few too many kicks early on this season. That honestly, if he would have had those a couple weeks back, they beat Indiana. They lose to Ohio State by 13 like they did last week still. They're still ranked. That's not, the least of my concern there right now, for God's sakes. Like, come on. Just, to me, it seems like they are learning how to play football for the first time ever, and they don't know what the hell they're doing whatsoever. Coaches and the players, for that matter. So, something's got to give. Hell, they go to Nebraska next week. Nebraska's been able to score some points. Got beat, not bad by Ohio State, but they let it slip away in the second half a couple weeks back. And then they lose by 8, only scoring 13 on the road against Northwestern today. Plus, Nebraska's home opener will now be next week because they didn't play Wisconsin last Saturday at home. So Nebraska going to open their season mid-November. It's 2020, it's just how it is, but who would have thought that? Along with Penn State having a home game 2 weeks before Christmas over in Happy Valley Beaver Stadium against Michigan State about a month from now. But still, like, just... They, from top to bottom, start to finish, at least today for that matter, they do not know how to play football. Honestly. Honest to God, they do not know how to play football. That's what it seems like. And I go back all, come post-game press conference, we got to do a better job as coaches. They don't practice like this through the week. Yet, well, why the hell is it showing this, during the game? Why isn't it showing up? Not necessarily saying James Franklin's the problem, but it all starts with him because he's the head football coach. Okay? It's one on down the line from one another. Coaches coach, players play. Play calling would be better, okay. Players play better. Make some stops on defense going back, like I said, in the first half. They might not be in a 28-point deficit right now. It might be a little closer. But that's not how it turned out. This is how it turned out, and here we are. So you got to play it. Just like golf. Play it as the ball lies. Unless, you cheat all the time like somebody else. So who knows what will happen. This is just, today is so pathetic. Go back to 0-1, like I said. They haven't started 0-3 since then. They started 0-4. 0-3 and 0-4. 2003 and 2004 then. For me personally, that's the last time. Because they've had a winning season since 2005, every season since. That's honestly the last time they were, the way they're playing today, that bad. Okay, from then until now, I should say, yeah, there's been a few games, 2014, 2015, when Franklin first came in. They were bad. I remember that Northwestern game. They got blown out. They couldn't do a damn thing. They barely beat Indiana that year. That's when Indiana was still bad. Indiana's gotten better over the course of the past few years. Of course, that showed 2 weeks ago. Indiana beat them for the second time ever. 3rd down and 8. Tulia Tungalovoa pass over the middle, complete at midfield. First down, Maryland Terrapins. Up by 28, 35-7 here midway through the third quarter. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Tune in tomorrow as well. Steelers, Cowboys. Live reactions play next week as well. Penn State and Nebraska, along with the Bengals and Steelers as well, live right here on YouTube. College football, NFL, and professional wrestling live reactions, play-by-play. 10 yards on the reception. It'll be 1st and 10 Maryland once again from the 40 out of the gun. Tulia gonna fake the give and then toss it. A slip on the missed tackle by Lucada. Luckily, no gain on the play. Mustafa, Owa, and Joey Porter Jr. on the stop. So now 2nd and 10 once again, but still, just from top to bottom, start to finish, just absolutely pathetic. Yeah, there's been, going back to what I was saying, a few games here and there, they've played like complete shit. They're once again not going to win on November the 7th. They haven't won on this day since 1987. They're going to start 0-3. It's just, they literally have not been this bad in almost 20 years. When you have some other teams playing their best ball in 20 years. Or even vice versa, for that matter, or somewhere even in between. And like I said earlier, don't be, saying, oh, no fans, that's why they're not playing well. Whatever excuse, people are they're going to use for that matter. Just go out and play football. Like I said, Penn State, they've had as much time as anyone else to do what they need to do to get ready for these games. And today, they're simply getting beat. Plain and simple. End of story. They are getting beat today. By not a great Maryland team, but actually a pretty decent Maryland team. And who would have thought the two worst teams in the Big Ten, East for that matter, would not be Maryland or Rutgers, depending on how Rutgers plays out the rest of their season. They beat Michigan State week 1. Of course, lost to Indiana last week. They're going to get blown out probably tonight by Ohio State. I shouldn't even say probably, they will. But still, this. Maryland going to take a delay of game to back themselves up on this punt to pin Penn State deep inside the 10-yard line. Delay game, 5 yards, replay 4th down. So, this is just, I'll tell you what, just frustrating. Just, they have not been this bad in forever. It is pathetic. And look at that. Credit to Maryland. They just pinned Penn State deep. And Penn State's going to have it 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line with the goal line to their back. Just awful. Awful. Hell, I could even get into potential candidates to take over for James Franklin if I felt like it, because I have that list ready to go. I've had it, in my back pocket for I don't know how long now. Just for, safekeeping. As Franklin likes to say, oh yeah, I always have a list of, assistant coaches that, I always keep my eye on to, call up if I have an opening. And okay, yeah, they had like 4 or 5 of those this past off season. And then, March hit and, COVID, and 2020 has been screwed up. And I mean, the thing is, people are going to be expecting this to go away once New Year's rolls around, but that's not going to be the case. Y'all know it, so get over it and live your life and move on. But I mean, like I said earlier, not planning on getting into that. Who could potentially take over for James Franklin at Penn State? But it's everybody. There's no excuse for this whatsoever. When we all know and they know themselves that they could be playing 10 times better than they are. So I'll leave it at that for the time being, but keep an eye out, as mentioned, potentially at some point down the road, with my opinion on if Penn State would move on from James Franklin even after just signing him to an extension, or the NFL calling him up, buying him out, bolting to go to the league, who could potentially take over the blue and white for the 3rd time in the past decade. So, I have a decent list, but the thing is, you still look at it, there's not really anybody that, whether they would fit or not, now when it makes sense. So we'll get to there when we get there. But now Penn State, 4.5 to play here in the 3rd. 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line, and they're going to throw it on the slant over the middle, incomplete, intended for Parker Washington. And I feel too, honestly, if there's 110,000 fans there, them losing by 28, this Beaver Stadium would have emptied out by now, for the most part. And they'd be getting booed by everyone, except visiting Maryland fans, of course. But there are friends and family for some fans of coaches and players over the day. Another pass from the 1-yard line. And it's going to be batted down, incomplete. Penn State not getting frustrated. Some pushing and shoving, which I understand. But to me, it feels like, well, we don't have any fans. We can do what the hell we want. We're not going to get booed. Everybody can sit at home like me and bitch and complain at the TV, but they can't do anything about it. We're the ones coaching, and the players are the ones playing. Like, yeah, okay, it's a factor that there's no fans. It's not the same. Clifford out of the gun on 3rd and 10 from the 1, rolling out in the end zone, a flag coming in. And if it's a hold, it's going to be a safety. Pass complete to Pat Fryermuth, 15-yard line. But this is a hold against Penn State. Fryermuth out of the 15 when he caught the ball. Clifford in the end zone when he threw. It's going to be a safety. And Maryland's going to lead by 37-7 over Penn State. Zebras huddling up. See what the call is. Prior to the pass, holding on Maryland. So holding on the defense. Penalty should be declined. Automatic first down because of the pass and catch from Clifford to Fryermuth. 1st and 10, Penn State now at the 15-yard line. Okay.
A little bit more of a breathing room after that 40-yard punt that Penn State.
Clifford looking to throw over the middle. It's going to be caught once again. And that is Fryermuth once again out to around the 40-yard line. He should be nearing 100 yards receiving. Another first down for Penn State. Still a little too late. Like I said, if they want to come back and win this game, they're going to have to force overtime and, probably get a 10 or 20 overtime for that matter. Excuse me. Pass over the middle complete to Parker Washington for about 7 yards. Washington and TJ Jones are going to stay in with John Dotson. Second and 3. Clifford going to hand off. Devin Ford going to be stuffed in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. Second and about 5.
Just really well done, round out from the inside out.
And this game flying by, to be honest with you, because Maryland in full control.
Local kid out of Baltimore. Loves playing for this Maryland Terps team.
Third and 4 officially from the 45. Clifford looking to throw. Rolling out. Throw it away. Do not take a sack. Okay, he does that time, but it's pointless because you're going to have to punt. James Franklin telling him to go for it. Well, you might as well. There's only 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. You're down 28. Ball at the 45-yard line. You have a 4th and 4. You're near midfield. Yeah, you might as well go for it. Why the hell not? What do you got to lose? How don't you see a receiver wide open downfield and not throw it to him? 4th and 4, Penn State going to go for it. Clifford going to be brought down on the sack. Just I'm going to shut the hell up. I am. Clifford goes down the sack. No turner run downs by Penn State. Maryland going to get the ball back up 35-7. 2.5 to play here in the third. Commercial break. They're going to have the ball 1st and 10. Very, very good starting field position. Hell, if they were, 25, 30-point favorites, yeah, they'll cover. But Penn State, if you had Penn State covering, it's 25, but like I said earlier, I believe it went up to about 27.5, 28. Yeah, you're going to be out some money. But we'll move on. Hopefully next week they'll play better. They start out 0-4 in an 8-game season.
Some call it adventure.
Because, in my opinion,
Call it escape.
at the start of the season, I said this 2 weeks ago, so that last week too.
To capture
Tough 3-game stretch, November 14th, November 21st, November 28th.
Polaris.
Okay? Hopefully everybody has a happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
You could use a great weekend.
We are getting to that point already. Hard to believe, but yes, we are. And hell, if it keeps up, you know, Penn State's probably still going to be down 35-7 come Christmas time. At Nebraska, Iowa, at Michigan. Okay? Well, like I said earlier, Indiana, they lost by 1 in overtime. They lost by 13 last Saturday night against Ohio State.
Can you believe how much free on-demand content is included with our dish service?
Just think,
Thousands of movies and
if
shows.
they played like
That's more
this
than the amount of tiles this
tonight
entire
last
country.
week,
That's more
Ohio
than the
State
amount of
probably put
listening
100
to
on.
this more than the amount of males in this entire house.
Regardless,
Times listings?
the rest of their schedule, they're going to be playing like this or playing the way they have the past 3 weeks now overall. They're still all winnable games. They seriously are, okay? And that's because of the way Penn State is playing and their opponents to be in the coming weeks. At Nebraska, Iowa, and then at Michigan. Iowa, like I said, they started 0-2 with losses to Purdue and Northwestern. They blew out Michigan State, though, today. Nebraska lost to Ohio State, of course, as Penn State did. Off against Wisconsin because they didn't play. Talia Tagovailoa going to go down on the sack. That's the best defensive play all day for Penn State. Judge Culpepper, Brad Monica's kid from Tampa, Florida. They were, of course, on the TV show Survivor along with Shane Simmons on the stop for the Penn State defense. So they are starting to play some backups, get some youngsters in the ball game for some playing experience here, late in the ball game. But now 35-7, 2nd and 10, Maryland from the 46. And Penn State bringing pressure again. Brandon Smith on the sack. Where the hell has this pressure been all goddamn day? You want to wait until you're down 28 late in the third quarter and then bring pressure? Back-to-back sacks by Penn State. But with that schedule, okay, with the way they're playing and the way their opponents have been playing, they're all honestly, seriously winnable games. Nebraska, they said, lost by 8 to Northwestern today. Luckily, they're not going to have to play Northwestern or Purdue right now, but who knows? They still could eventually, depending on what happens the rest of the season, and then Big Ten Championship rolls around. 4th down, Maryland. It was about an 8-yard run there by the Terps, short of the line of the game, though, so 4th and short. Under a minute to play here in the third quarter, and Maryland's going to punt. So Penn State, after 2 turnover on downs on 4th down, a missed field goal, 1,000 punts today. They trail by 28, 35-7. However, they're going to get the ball back. Get the ball back, and why the hell not bring the punt block unit? However, Maryland's going to pin them deep once again at the 2-yard line this time around. Jesus Christ. I mean, Penn State's simply flat out just getting beat today by the Maryland Terps. This is
Well, Maryland's offense has been rolling, in large part
just
because of their quarterback. And you go back to last weekend, it was a banner weekend for both of the brothers. The first career win as a starter for both Talia
every dog
and guess what?
has
The
its day.
parents were in attendance to
Every
watch
dog
both of
has
those
its
wins
day.
in person last week. So against Minnesota and against the
You win some, you lose some.
for Tua.
They didn't play good enough to win today. They're going to have it 1st and 10 from the 2-yard line. 20 seconds to play here in the third. Clifford going to go down the sack. No, he's going to throw it away out of bounds. Incomplete. They say intentional grounding. That'll be a safety. But Parker Washington was nearby. I don't know if they're going to put a flag on that or not. No foul for intentional grounding. So incomplete. 2nd and 10 now, Penn State. From the 2. Down 28 once again. If you're just now tuning in, Maryland leads the Nittany Lions on the road 35-7. Be sure to subscribe. Out of the gun, Clifford. Pass on the comeback far side, complete to Jahan Dotson. First down, blue and white. And that should do it for the first. Yeah, I'm still thinking it's the first quarter. I wish it was the first quarter. 15 minutes to play. Tie ball game at 0 apiece. Now that should be and that will now be the final play of the third quarter, with Maryland leading Penn State 35-7 at the end of 3. This has to be their worst home loss in forever. Regardless of the outcome, whatever the final score is going to be, this has to be their worst home loss at Beaver Stadium in forever. Have to do some digging on that, but if you folks would wish to do that for myself, be my guest. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching. Be sure to subscribe. Tune back in tomorrow as well. Steelers, Cowboys next week. Penn State, Nebraska, along with Bengals and Steelers. And then a week from Sunday, well, 2 weeks from tomorrow, a week from next Sunday, WWE Survivor Series, as we'll celebrate 30 years of The Undertaker. And all that's gonna concur is setting up a match for WrestleMania with the Phenom, the Dead Man himself, against whoever they want him to face at WrestleMania 37 come next spring. But right now, Maryland leads Penn State 35-7 in an absolute annihilation, a blowout of the Night Lions here this afternoon. We'll still preview AEW Full Gear if you're awaiting that, along with the NFL this weekend.
I really appreciate that, Patrick. Insurance, Jake from State Farm. Being a champ.
Today, yes, they are. To answer your question. But just overall, regardless of who they played this year, whether it be Indiana, Ohio State, now Maryland, play at Nebraska next week before Iowa and Michigan, and then Rutgers, Michigan State to close out the year. Hell, they might not even get a bowl game, even though all teams are eligible for bowl games. You're going to have a winning record, you would think. And they've had winning records, winning seasons since 2005, every consecutive year since. So, see what happens. But they just continue to dig themselves a deeper and deeper and deeper. I can say deeper a million times. The biggest, deepest hole they could possibly dig. That's what Penn State has done all season long. Okay? And they can't get out of it. And they can't do anything. They can't run the ball. They can't throw. They can't play defense. They can't tackle. They can't cover. Clifford going to go down on a sack. They can't block now either. He's been sacked how many times today? So, overall, they just need to take a good, hard look at themselves, every single one of them, in the mirror, coaches and players, and reevaluate, throw this game tape out the window, and just move on. Honestly, just move on. And like I said, every dog has this day. It's just one of those games. You know, you win some, you lose some, but they're just playing like complete trash today, honestly.
One game they said they needed to establish, and Maryland effectively took that away right from the start.
Devin Ford on a run is going to bring up a 3rd and 6 for Penn State. Clifford near side. Jahan Dotson once again first down, Penn State. He has to be nearing 100 yards as well for the second consecutive game. Credit to Maryland, though. You know, like I've said, you know, all game basically. They're playing 10 times better than Penn State. They're simply beating them. And, I mean, there's not much else you can do. Seriously, I mean, there's not much else Penn State can do. But, yes, we'll continue to preview the NFL this week along with AEW later on tonight, and then college football next week. So Clifford going to go deep.
sets it up, but Dotson got
That's a good no call. Dotson slipped and fell. Does Clifford not know to go to any of his other receivers? Like, he has other receivers. I'd understand, you know.
Yeah, he's a special guy when it comes to the ball in the air. He owns
Well, not really, but still.
it's in the air.
And that's why I said earlier, who's going to step up behind Dawson at receiver? Parker Washington, Freiermuth, fourth quarter here, they haven't been targeted. Clifford over the middle, batted down, incomplete, 10 for 85.
I like that kid. I think he's a good player. He plays with
At least Matt Millen's giving him some respect. I mean, normally I would be too, but I'm so pissed off right now. I think everybody is. There's no reason for this. You know, but like I've said, they just continue to dig themselves a hole and they can't get out of it. They can't do anything whatsoever. Nothing.
Brings up 3rd and 10. I love Mike Loxley's line on Targeek still. He said, if he's good enough, then he's old enough to play.
Trips top of your screen from 37. Clifford over the middle looking to throw. It's going to be caught by Freiermuth right at the first down marker. First down, Penn State.
They needed 10 and they got 10.
So, yeah. Other than, you know, like I was just saying.
Just all you have to be is accurate with him. He'll make the catch. It might be a tight coverage, but he's coming down.
Maryland just, Jesus Christ, he can't even snap the ball. Another false start. Penalties, turnovers, just, like I said earlier too, everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong today. Throw it all, you know, wherever the hell you're going to throw it at and roll it up and chuck it somewhere and, you know, maybe it'll knock some sense into him for next week. And all he's going to say during his press conference is, you know, starts with us. We got to coach better. I haven't watched the tape yet. I don't know. You know, that'll be a, you know, better question for next week. I'll answer it then. You know, blah, 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 blah. Same excuses after another. You know, and it's just frustrating. There's not much else to say. To lose. You know, how LeVar Ball has never lost. Well, Penn State hasn't won yet this year, and by the looks of it, they might not even win until. So they run on second down. Keziah Holmes, about a yard or so, maybe, if that. It'll be 3rd and 15. Lions.
Players to learn your offense. And I asked him about that this week, and they felt pretty good about it. But
out of the gun, trips top of your screen. Right to left for Penn State. We'll have final stats and scores coming up shortly. Over the middle, it's going to be caught by Jahan Dotson. He's going to get about 13 or so on that, I'd say. It'll be, yeah, it's going to be about 4th and 2.
So tight, I don't believe there's much yards after the catch at all. It's like the ball is there, the catch is there, the tackle is there.
It's true. It's right. He's right. Matt Millen's right. You know, they throw it, they catch it, if they even catch it, and they get tackled right away. It's not get your playmakers ball in space and, you know, make a play and let them run. Clifford on 4th and 2, complete near side to Jahan Dotson once again. He's literally the only guy Clifford knows how to throw to. Which, no offense, I'll take it, but when there's other players, whether they're covered or not, if he's open, okay, give him the ball. Just get the hell open. Plain and simple. I don't care who it is. Just get open. And, I mean, they might score here. They might not. I don't know. Dotson on the reception now is going to drop and then be brought down on the tackle. Good no call. Some people would probably think that's a penalty. That's not a penalty. Defenders just, of course, finishing the play until the whistle. Acting as if the receiver caught the ball and he's bringing them down on the tackle. Of course, he didn't see the ball drop and fell incomplete. So, 2nd and 10.
It doesn't seem to surprise Coach Loxley there. You know, Mike was talking about this, like he had a good feeling about this team, and it continues to grow. That's all good stuff.
Ball at the 38-yard line. Clifford going deep down the far sideline now, overthrows Brenton Strange.
So again, Clifford, that's the right read. It's man coverage. You have two guys at the top,
I tell you
two
what.
guys at the bottom. You pull the outside guy up and you let the slot guy use that whole pattern.
It's everyone. It's not one person or another. Now we got a flag. It's everyone. But you have to give credit to Maryland. You do, because they simply beat them. You know, we're going to have a pass interference on the Terps. 15 yards, automatic first down for Penn State. So the refs now do feel bad. I didn't see no pass interference by any means, but take 15 yards. It's everyone's. You know, it is. It honestly is. You know, because it starts up front. Can't block, can't run, can't throw. Can block, but as of late, he's taken how many sacks? So that's on Clifford, though, too. He shouldn't throw the ball away. But on some of his throws, he's just completely overthrown them. Just like that one. Incomplete, intended for Brenton Strange. He's airing it out a little too much, a little too high. Maybe he is. I don't know. And he's just not playing well. You know, going back to quarterback talk there a little bit ago, no, I wouldn't make quarterback decision or quarterback switch. Make a decision on the quarterback position overall. Would not make switch. Would not make switch right now. You got to just continue to play with the guys you have, and they'll get out of the rut that they're in. What a pass! And then Parker Washington made an even better catch. So touchdown Penn State. Not much to cheer for today, but 2 passing touchdowns now by Sean Clifford. 1 to John Dawson, 1 to Parker Washington. And we're getting another pass interference on Maryland. Opponent's going to be declined. Touchdown, blue and white. They're going to go for 2. They're going to kick it. Might as well go for 2. There's 10 minutes to play. Okay, so you think about it. Still 3 timeouts. I mean, a simple go route down the far sideline. On the numbers, and Clifford put it up for Parker Washington. He came down with it, and it's touchdown Penn State. 3 timeouts to well, Maryland has 2. Penn State, 3 timeouts to use here with 10:16 to play. 35-13. Go for 2 here. You're down 20 if you get it. You still need 3 scores though, but potentially doable. Not. Even though I did sort of throw it out the window earlier, not over just yet, but now it is, because Clifford once again just took the sack on the 2-point attempt. So 35-13. Yeah, there's no way in hell they come back. No way. 35-13 Maryland on top of Penn State. 2001. Yeah, we knew that coming in. Penn State has not started 0-3. 2001. We started 4 that year, before 5 and 6. So that's a good sign, potentially. If they do start out 0-3, they'll finish strong, hopefully. And with the year of 2020 being the year of 2020 as it's been, you know, eligibility for everyone doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be bowl eligible. So depending on what happens, we'll see what, you know, goes on after that. Yeah, 0-3, 2001. I said earlier, though, too, if you want to look this up, last time they've had this bad of a loss at home, I can't remember the last time they got beat this bad at home against whoever. I honestly don't care who it was, but I just can't remember the last time they got beat this bad. Now, okay, they just scored a late touchdown. Still 10 minutes to play, but still. And they still could cut it, you know, again. But still, overall, they have not been beat, you know, in all phases, in all aspects, this bad in quite some time. I honestly, like I said, can't remember the last time that happened. I'd have to look into it. But if you guys know, or if you want to look it up, let me know. Now, as mentioned, I want to preview NFL Week 9 real quick here before hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow once again as well for more live reactions, play live right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. That red subscribe button, the thumbs up button as well, along with share. But Steelers Cowboys tomorrow, 4 o'clock, live right here on YouTube, live reactions, play. NFL Week 9 kicked off this past Thursday. We saw Aaron Rodgers and the Packers defeat the 49ers. A few good 1 o'clock games tomorrow in the National Football League. We've got the Seahawks up in upstate Western New York taking on the Buffalo Bills. Chicago Bears down in Nashville taking on the Titans. The Baltimore Colts, Indianapolis Colts, Baltimore Ravens, Indianapolis Colts tomorrow from Indy. Panthers Chiefs, Christian McCaffrey going to be active. Penn State going to be taking on his little brother and Luke McCaffrey next week. So in back-to-back weeks, Penn State going to be taking on younger brothers of current NFL stars in Tulia Tagovailoa today with Maryland, the younger brother of Tua Tagovailoa, starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, and then Luke McCaffrey, currently one of the 2 quarterbacks that Nebraska uses in their 2-quarterback system with Adrian Martinez. Luke McCaffrey, younger brother of Carolina Panther running back Christian McCaffrey. Steelers Cowboys as well, along with a very low-key underrated matchup as well with Tua, as he's out in the desert probably watching this game right now, as it'll be Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray as the Dolphins will take on the Arizona Cardinals. Saints Bucks Sunday Night Football. Antonio Brown going to make his Buccaneer debut. We'll get Drew Brees and Michael Thomas back together for the first time since Week 1. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, along with Rob Gronkowski. We saw in both baseball and basketball, the Dodgers and Lakers win championships. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in hockey. So what does that mean for the NFL? Well, even with the Super Bowl being in Tampa, history on the Bucs side, that's going to say, you know, the Buccaneers are going to be winning the Super Bowl. And there are a lot of stats out there right now, best starts for a lot of these NFL teams since whenever, and then they won the Super Bowl that year. Well, only 2 teams get the Super Bowl, and only 1 team can obviously win, as Kansas City is trying to defend their throne. And then Monday night, Patriots and Jets. So that's NFL Week 9. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow. Still to come, we'll preview AEW Full Gear, whether or not that's going to be before this game gets over at the end, like it was last year this very weekend when Penn State went to Minnesota and lost a heartbreaker against the Golden Gophers. Their first of 2 losses in 3 weeks, as they beat Indiana in between, and then went to Ohio State and lost as well, before beating Rutgers and then defeating Memphis in last year's Goodyear Classic down in Big D. 2nd and 11 for Maryland is 35-13 Terps over the Lions. Here in this Big Ten East matchup, if you're just now tuning in, 9 minutes and 5 seconds to play here in the ball game from the 45-yard line. Tulia Tagovailoa, get used to hearing his name, younger brother Tua. He's a right-handed quarterback compared to Tua being a lefty. Both former Alabama quarterbacks, though. Tulia just transferred up to Maryland after last season. Wasn't going to beat out Mac Jones, but look at Alabama. Alabama's still Alabama with Nick Saban. They're off this week. They'll play LSU next week, so as mentioned, we'll continue to preview college football for next week as well. Wisconsin going to be on the road at Michigan. We'll see where College Game Day is going to be at. I mean, because there's really not any good games next weekend. But we'll take a look at some final stats and scores from this ball game with Maryland and Penn State. Incomplete near side, 4th down for the Terps. And Penn State going to get the ball back with 3 timeouts, 8.5 to play, but ball game's still over with, more likely than not. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the only touchdown for Maryland was a defensive score on that fumble. Scoop and score on the fumble return. And then Clifford once again averaging 1 touchdown a half in this game. 1 to Jahan Dotson and 1 to Parker Washington. Fair catch at the 19-yard line. Penn State will start from there, 1st and 10, down 35.
Penn State
to 13.
trying to play catch up.
Spray, lift, skip, step, swipe, lift, spin, drive, slam, and still fresh. Move, and still.
They haven't been beat that bad since then. That's a little hard to believe, honestly. But thank you for looking that up.
No. No way.
Come on. No.
That's a little hard to believe, honestly. I thought, we got beat worse than margin of victory. Well, that's 26 points.
This game's boring.
I'm just trying to think of some other games that they would have got beat pretty bad. I don't think they've been shut out at home
Well, we've made our office pet friendly.
in a while. I could be wrong, though. I'd have to go back and look. Something to look into, of course. But thank you for that. That's an interesting stat. Just a little hard to believe, though, because you even would have thought, go back to 01, last time it started out 03, that since then, with a few games, that, they would have been beat a little worse than that. But, yeah, so. That was on the road, though, yeah. That was in 13, I remember that game. Yeah, that's probably the most points they've had scored on them in quite a while, since then at least. But, yeah, not a good game today by Penn State by any means. They're going to get the ball back here. They're going to end up losing, but hey, it is what it is. Like, they just didn't play good enough, so nothing we can do about it. We can sit here and complain all we want, but
Towards the end of the half, finding Demas for the score, and then at the start of the second half, the first
yeah, but that's
of the season here for Maryland,
a little after the last time we had a civil war, which who knows if we're going to be on the verge of another one in the U.S. here shortly or not. Maybe between Penn State and Maryland, we will. Sean Clifford just threw an interception. A turnover by Penn State. And, yeah, 2 turnovers, shit ton of penalties again. Can't do anything whatsoever. And Maryland going to get the ball back. 1 play after just punting. And Sean Clifford just threw an interception. Just batted up in the air, and Maryland came down with it. Intended for Jahan Dotson once again. Well, no wonder. You keep throwing to the same goddamn receiver. No offense to Jahan Dotson, but there's other players to throw to. No wonder the defense is going to be, on them and picking you off. So 35-13 still, Maryland on top of Penn State going to get the ball back. But, yeah, I mean, that's another good one, too. I mean, I don't necessarily want to count that. I'm thinking of anything from, say, like 1970 on. Or even maybe a few years prior to that. Thank you for that. Thank you. Always greatly appreciated. Thanks for tuning in and watching. We'll take looking around college football here real quick.
Those receiving therapies that suppress the immune system may experience lower immune responses. Vaccination may not protect everyone. Side effects include pain, redness, and or swelling when you got the shot, muscle ache, headache, and general discomfort. Other side effects may occur.
If you're 65 plus,
see if we got any updates on any scores. 41-28 Florida leading Georgia. Cincy 38-10 over Houston. 13-12 Oklahoma State over Kansas State at the end of the third quarter. And then for some reason, Western Kentucky and Florida Atlantic is currently delayed. Still to come, though, tonight in college football. We got Texas A&M and South Carolina, along with Baylor and Iowa State, UCLA, Colorado, La Tech, North Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, Rutgers, Ohio State, Stanford, and Oregon, along with Tennessee and Arkansas, South Alabama and Coastal Carolina. Louisville, Virginia got postponed. They'll play now next week. Washington State, Oregon State, along with New Mexico and Hawaii. Now, next week in college football, going back to this real quick, we'll have some action midweek once again. However, it'll begin on a Tuesday. So, really, we have football from this past Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday now next week with Akron, Ohio, Kent State, Bowling Green, Miami, Ohio, Buffalo. Next Wednesday, Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Toledo, and Western Michigan, along with Central Michigan and Northern Illinois. Next Thursday in college football, as in the NFL, we'll have Titans, Colts. It'll be Colorado State and Boise State. Next Friday, Iowa will play at Minnesota, Florida Atlantic, Florida International, along with East Carolina and Cincinnati, Utah, UCLA. Utah, Arizona was postponed, will not be made up due to COVID-19. Maryland is going to run the ball, I would think. Clifford's probably going to be done. I mean, I wouldn't mind, honestly, if they pulled him now. You know, the game's over. Let him rest. Get ready for the next week.
But if you had to pick one guy who made change this whole team, he's a quarterback, right? He's taking his good old time, letting that clock down. He's going to use as much as he can.
2nd and 9, Maryland. Tulia Tunglavua hands off once again. It'll be 3rd down. Penn State, Nebraska, like I said, next week at noon. So the first early game for Penn State this season. We've had 3:30 games and a 7:30. Now noon with Penn State, Nebraska. Iowa's probably going to be the same, honestly. Michigan will probably be 3:30. We'll see. Also next week, Notre Dame, Boston College. That'll be a good one. Depending on how Notre Dame plays tonight, they play Clemson at home. The college game day was today. Like I said, they're going to have a decision to make for next week because there's not really any good games. Wisconsin at Michigan, but Michigan just lost. They're going to follow the top 25 probably. Wisconsin hasn't played since week 1. I mean, Alabama, LSU, but other than that, there's not really anything. I already looked at it. But here we go again. It's all going to depend on what happens later on tonight with some of these games too. And like I said, the last time AEW had full gear, it was the same day Penn State played at Minnesota, and we didn't get to preview that until at the end of the game. And for some unknown reason, that just how it seems to be once again here today. But we'll get to AEW full gear if you're waiting those preview predictions coming up shortly. So thank you for sticking around and thank you for watching Maryland Penn State live reactions play. Tua. Flag on the play. Tua's younger brother in Tulia Tunglavua. Gonna run out of bounds near side. We're gonna have a hold on Maryland, 10 yards. It'll be 3rd down. They'll replay 3rd down. So Penn State, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Boston College, Miami, Virginia Tech in the ACC should be a good one. Vaughn Tech now going to be coming off the Liberty loss. Oregon, Washington State, USC, Arizona, Cal, Arizona State, UNLV, San Jose State, Oregon State, Washington, Fresno State, Utah State, North Texas going to travel from Denton to the University of Alabama at Birmingham to take on those Flaming Dragons. Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, West Virginia, 2 Big 12 shootouts. Illinois, Rutgers in the shit show probably. Northwestern, Purdue. Arguably could be the best Big Ten game next week. See what else we got cooking. Maryland on to punt. Penn State almost blocks it. Under 6 minutes to play here. Fair catch Singapore at the 11-yard line. Once again by Jahan Dotson. See if Sean Clifford's going to come back out and play quarterback or not. But it'll be 1st down, Nittany Lions from the 11 when we return. Georgia, Missouri next week. Indiana, Michigan State. Coastal Carolina and Troy. That's an intriguing matchup, honestly. Western Carolina and Liberty. Liberty's at 7-0 ranked. Just as Coastal Carolina is at 6-0. They play later on the night, ranked in top 25. Like I said with Hugh Freeze, from our Ole Miss head coach, now at Liberty, having them undefeated, top 25 team, he might honestly, if given the right opportunity, could make the jump back to a big D1 Power 5 school at the end of the season for next year. Brought up Michigan earlier, depending on what happens with Harbaugh. Talked about Franklin earlier, even before the game started. And then, they play this today. Well, maybe, we'll see. Wake Forest, North Carolina, Vandy and Kentucky, Army, Tulane, Middle Tennessee State and Marshall. App State, who took Penn State to overtime a few years back. A year after Penn State beat Georgia State, we'll have Georgia State and App State in the Sun Belt next week. Shout out to Eric Church and Luke Combs. UTEP and Texas San Antonio. Ohio State plays at Maryland, so that should, honestly, that's probably going to be the Big Ten game of the week next week. Ohio State at Maryland. The way Maryland played today, if they can hang with Penn State, who hung with Ohio State last week for the most part. Maryland, last time Ohio State visited College Park, went to overtime, I do believe. They should be able to hang with the Buckeyes next week. So from Ohio State, I don't want to say necessarily upset alert, but hey, maybe that's where College Game Day goes. Maybe Game Day goes Ohio State, Maryland from College Park with Maryland's big win. Probably not, because ABC 7:30 next week. It's going to be from the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan, hosting Wisconsin. So they normally like to, try to stay close or stay put if possible. You have a flag on the play offside on the defense. Pass was incomplete, far sideline. 5 yards, they'll replay first down. Texas A&M and Tennessee. South Florida, Houston. Louisville and Virginia, Auburn, Mississippi State, Hawaii, San Diego State. Yeah, then Alabama plays at LSU next Saturday night at 6 o'clock. A weird 6 o'clock kickoff. Arkansas, Florida. Pitt, Georgia Tech, SMU, Tulsa. And then Wisconsin, Michigan, like I said. Pass complete to Parker Washington once again for a few yards. It'll be second and about, I'd say, 3 after a 1st and 5 play. We also got Florida State, NC State, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Temple, Central Florida, and then Air Force and Wyoming. Over the middle, caught at the 30-yard line. That's Bretton Strange, who they're starting to get more involved in the offense. They need a number 2 at tight end behind Freiermuth as well. But as Penn State trails, Clifford once again looking to throw on 1st down and 10. Rolling out far side, gonna tuck it and run. Looks to have got the 1st down, maybe. They might spot him out of bounds there, just a tad short. Pick up about 8, maybe 9 on the run. It'll be 2nd and 2 officially, so they give him 8. We'll have, as mentioned, final stats and scores with Maryland, Penn State coming up here shortly. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching. If you have chat questions or comments along with super chats, super stickers, let me know. Penn State trailing 35-13 against Maryland, and arguably one of the worst performances ever by a Penn State squad, offense, defense, and special teams. 2 touchdowns from Clifford to Dotson and Washington, as mentioned, but other than that, nothing going for the blue and white here this afternoon. Maybe it's the hat I'm wearing. Maybe they just feel like they're, playing, like they beat Lehigh back in the late 1800s, because this is an old school, Penn State logo on the hat. So, I don't know. 3rd and 2, trips near side. Maryland going to call their 2nd timeout with 4:37 to play. And this is after an incompletion by Clifford, throw out of bounds near side. So, Penn State still all 3 timeouts remaining. It'll be 3rd and 2. Nittany Lions when we return after Maryland timeout. Maryland leading Penn State 35-13.
2. We resume action. The ball's on the 39-yard line. 4:37 left to play in this game.
Clifford going to go deep, going to be picked off again at the 30-yard line. After Maryland timeout, 3rd and 2 Penn State, and Clifford with another interception.
Good job by Cross. This is a nice job.
Sean Clifford, the big red dog, can go hibernate in his dog cage for the next week until they play against Nebraska next Saturday, for all I care right now. You know, like I said earlier, you asked who's this on? Everybody. Yeah, but I mean, Clifford's a starting quarterback, for God's sakes. Like, come on. First and 10, Maryland from the 32. Tulia Tungalovoa going to hand off, no gain on the play. So we'll see how, well, we'll see what the final score is for one. And then we'll see how the rest of college football shakes out tonight. We'll see how they play next week. And then we'll go from there. I mean, honestly, just absolutely pathetic. Arguably, like I said, yeah, we got a false start on Maryland there. Okay. All flags come flying in. False start on the left guard. 5 yards, I'll replay the down. Be second and long. Worst Penn State performance in quite a while. I mean, like I said, you got to go back to 2003 and 2004 when they were this bad. They went 3-9 and 4-7 those years. Okay, before they won the Orange Bowl in 05, and they've had a winning season every year since. So Maryland trying to drain this clock. They don't snap until the play clock basically expires. Hand off up the middle. It'll be 3rd down. Penn State not even calling their timeouts.
The clean burning fuel choice that's engine smart and earth kind, and brought to you by State Farm. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor.
So I don't get why they're not calling it. Well, okay, now we got a timeout.
Timeout is called. Maryland on the verge of beating Penn State for just the 3rd time in program history.
Yep, 3rd time ever Maryland would beat Penn State with the win today. They're 42-1 all time. Penn State is in the lead in the series, of course. But AEW Full Gear for the hell of it. Get this in before the game gets over. Arguably the best card, in my opinion, that they've ever put out for a pay-per-view. Will unfortunately not be watching the event tonight unless I can find a stream somewhere, like I've done before for a few. Will not be live streaming with live reactions play though, but be sure to tune back in tomorrow. Steelers Cowboys live reactions play live right here on YouTube, where I could potentially, if you tune back in and you ask, have some results from AEW Full Gear. Tonight, Serena Deeb, Allison Kay for the NWA Women's Championship. Deeb will retain. She just won the title. Sheeta and Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship. Sheeta's probably going to retain as well. They need to figure out their women's division, though. Orange Cassidy versus John Silver for the Dark Order. There's no way in hell Orange Cassidy will lose, so Orange Cassidy's going to win. Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara in the Elite Deletion match. A cinematic type match I'm expecting, with Matt Hardy also winning. And then this is when it gets good. Cody and Darby Allin for the TNT title. Could go either way. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, an I Quit AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Moxley's going to retain. because in the main event we got the AEW World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator Tournament final, where the winner will become the #1 contender, and I'll get more into that match in a second. Mox is going to retain. Kingston should be a champion at some point down the road, though, in AEW. Just a matter of what championship title that, of course, is. But his time, not tonight. A little unfortunate there. However, we are, for the first time ever, going to get FTR, F the Rest, formerly known as the Revival in the WWE, taking on the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. That could go either way as well. Young Bucks lose, they can't challenge for the tag titles ever again, so they'll probably win. Same stipulation as Cody had with the world title. That's why he's TNT champion right now. Their mid-card championship. So give me the Young Bucks over FTR. FTR's held these titles since All Out. It's been 2 months. Put them on the Young Bucks, and then have the feud continue into the new year and then Revolution come February. Chris Jericho and MJF as well. The champion, your demo god, will take on Maxwell Jacob Friedman. If MJF wins, he'll be in the Inner Circle. That could go either way as well. Honestly, don't know what they're going to do there. And then Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page in the finals of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator Tournament, where the winner will in fact become the new #1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. A match that I predicted back in July. And now tonight at Full Gear, we will get this. The winner will become #1 contender for whoever wins the world title tonight between Moxley and Kingston. And then whoever wins between Omega and Hangman Adam Page will then defeat Moxley, more so than not, at AEW Revolution in February to become the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. So that's AEW Full Gear for later on tonight. Penn State, in the meantime, back on offense. First down, Nittany Lions. Under 2 minutes to play. Ball at the 44-yard line. Clifford out of the gun looking to throw. Flag on the play. He's going to step up and run. He has to have near 500 yards rushing in this game because that's all the play calling's been. Quarterback draw, quarterback draw. Oh, we're going to throw deep and overthrow our targets. Except for whenever he's hit his targets, okay, it goes for a completion. So we got an offside on Maryland. Penalty's going to be declined because Penn State just picked up a first down. So first down, Nittany Lions. Yeah, Ohio State is more so not going to make the playoff. Like I said last week, I'll be rooting for them. I think all Big Ten and all Penn State fans should root for Ohio State as well moving forward. It's going to be the Big Ten's best shot to make the playoff and potentially compete for a national championship and win the national title this year, which overall, especially on a shortened 8-game conference-only schedule, Big Ten was getting a lot of slack. It'd make the conference look 10 times better, as it would normally do anyway. Dotson with a great grab near sideline, first and goal now, Penn State. In the meantime, very next play, pass complete over the middle to number 3 from Sean Clifford to Parker Washington, the true freshman receiver from Houston, Texas. Second goal now, from the 1-yard line. Out of the gun, Clifford going to hand off, and Devin Ford going to be stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. We'll see if he got in, but they're going to mark him down short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd and goal from the half-yard line. Penn State trying to punch it in with a minute to play, down 35-13. And of course, not necessarily a garbage touchdown, but a late touchdown, cutting the lead if they had, more time. If we were just entering the 4th quarter rather than ending the game, down 2 scores, I'd be saying this game's not over by any means. They're going to have a shot to come back. Now you want to try to run, huh? Up the gut with Keziah Holmes, no gain on 3rd and goal. 4th and goal, time's ticking away, and if they get stuffed, if they don't score on this 4th and goal here with 25 seconds to play, that's just going to show you how good Maryland has been all day, offense and defense, and it'll also show you how bad Penn State is, where they can't even move the ball a yard to score a touchdown, but they're going to throw a fade, and Parker Washington going to go up actually for it and come down with another touchdown reception. Okay, so my question earlier has been answered. Parker Washington is the number 2 receiver behind Jahan Dotson. It's Sean Clifford at quarterback. They still need to figure out the running game. They can't run the ball. Okay? But then it's Jahan Dotson, Parker Washington, and the rest of the receivers, and then Pat Fryer with the tight end. That's their offense. Plain and simple. That is their offense for 2020 right now. Penn State with another touchdown. Sean Clifford with his third passing touchdown today. They're going to go for 2 again. He has 2 interceptions as well. So just think, he doesn't have those 2 interceptions. They don't have the fumble, scoop, and score. All the penalties. Maryland's only scored once here in the second half, and that was on that fumble return for a touchdown. It was 28-7 at halftime. It's 35-19 right now. And Clifford with 11 seconds, just going to air it out. It's going to be incomplete. Back corner on the 2-point conversion. So they go 0 for 2 on 2 points. And then they miss a 50-plus yard field goal. They go for it on 4th and short from inside the 10 when they probably should have cooked the field goal. Turnover on downs. Another turnover on downs. Honestly, you look at it, this game is still very winnable because the defense late, because Maryland wasn't doing anything because they had a lead. Defense was holding down the fort. But, you know, it doesn't work like that. Even though it did. If that makes any sense. I mean, because you honestly think about it and you look at it, it was 28-7 at halftime. Maryland had that one scoop and score a few minutes in the second half. They've been shut out since. It's 35-19. If Penn State could have done a little bit more on offense, seriously, as much as I bashed them today, if they could have done a little bit, they're going to try an onside kick now. Good luck with that. Very rarely do teams recover onside kicks now. That's why they want to get rid of the kicking game in football. So you get 10 yards, somebody touches it, Maryland's going to recover, they'll take a knee, game's over. Maryland's going to win at 35-19 over Penn State, and Penn State's going to fall to 0-3 for the first time since 2001. And Tulia Tungalovoa is going to lead the Terps on the road to a victory, 2 straight after losing in week 1 against Northwestern. And these 35 points from Maryland against Penn State in program history are the most ever in this rivalry, in this series. Just, you know, from start to finish, Maryland beat Penn State. But if Penn State could have done a little bit more on offense, you know, this could have been a little bit closer. Could have been a little bit a better game. But Maryland's going to beat Penn State 35-19. Mike Loxley gives the game ball to Tulia Tungalovoa. Mike Loxley and James Franklin, post-game handshake. They're good pals, they're good friends, former assistant coaches together. Maryland on the road, defeating the blue and white Penn State Nittany Lions 35-19, as Penn State falls to 0-3 for the first time since 2001. Final stats and scores. Tulia Tungalovoa was 18 of 26 for 282 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Remember, at the half, he had 246 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. As mentioned, Maryland in the second half only had that scoop and score touchdown a few minutes in. And like I said, if Penn State could have finally got something going on offense, maybe a little bit more time on top of that, you know, could be a different story, could be a different outcome, but probably not. They didn't play well. They didn't even show up to play. They got beat by Maryland, plain and simple. Big win for Maryland and their program, honestly. Same thing with Indiana a couple weeks back. Penn State just not playing good football right now. You know, it all starts with the head coach and James Franklin. It all, you know, dwindles on down the list to all the assistant coaches and then all the players, because coaches coach and players play. But regardless of the play calling, regardless of how they played, they didn't play good enough to win, and simply they got beat. You know, Maryland deserved to win this game, as
and then they put 2 great weeks together, and
for the most part, all Penn State opponents this season so far have. So, a tough loss by Penn State once again. Just not even heartbreaking, for that matter anymore. It's still just frustrating. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. There's a ton of words to describe how they've played these past 3 weeks. Okay, and now they're going to go to Lincoln, Nebraska next Saturday at noon to take on the Cornhuskers in a crossover game. Their first of 2 in back-to-back weeks before Iowa comes to town in 2 weeks. Tough 3-game stretch coming up. At Nebraska, Iowa, at Michigan, before at Rutgers, and then Michigan State. Like I said earlier, a couple weeks back as well, start of the season, that tough 3-game stretch, regardless of how it would be, still going to be very, very tough. 2 of 3 on the road against powers in college football. Whether or not they've been powers as of late or not, they're still respected programs. Now you get to a point where you're 0-3, and the way they're playing and the way these other teams are playing, that they're going to be playing coming up, they're still all winnable games. I'm not saying by any means whatsoever that they're, going to cap off 3 in a row and be 3-3 at the end of the month, and then hope to get to 5-3 with wins over Rutgers and Michigan State. They'll be lucky to win one of their next 3. Whether that be at Nebraska, Iowa, or at Michigan, they'll be lucky to win one of their next 3. If any at all, for that matter, okay? They could be winless at the end of the month, which I wouldn't be shocked, because this 8-game conference-only shortened schedule for this 2020 season, 3rd schedule round, I said a couple weeks back, I thought it was tougher than what they had with conference and non-conference foes, the first and second go-around with the 10-game conference-only schedule then, with a fill-in potentially. But then, the Big Ten did what they did, canceled, and, came back, and here we are, and these games are being played, and, like I said, Penn State along with everyone else, including Maryland, Indiana, and Ohio State, they've all had the same amount of time to do what they have to do to get ready to play a football game. And Penn State has simply been beat by whether or not, Indiana was in on the conversion a couple weeks back or not. They called it on the field. It stood as called because they couldn't overturn it. They got beat by Ohio State last week. Credit the Buckeyes, best teams in the land. And then they simply got beat today. But like I said, if they would have been able to do a little bit more on offense, I think, and potentially had a little bit more time, or if they would have got their act together a little earlier on rather than, wait till second half to figure it out. Oh, we're a second half team. We'll figure it out then. No, time's going to run out, and that's what happened. If the offense, I honestly truly believe, like I said, even after bashing them all goddamn day, if they would have made a few more plays, not turned it over, not committed how many penalties, Maryland didn't really do a whole lot in the second half. So Mike Loxley giving a post-game interview with the Big Ten Network. Maryland 2-1 now on the season. They'll host Ohio State next week, but and Penn State will go to Nebraska. But as mentioned, Maryland only had 7 points total in the second half, and there was that scoop and score fumble early in the 3rd quarter. So if the offense for Penn State could have done something, who knows? It could have been a different story. Probably not, but you never know. That's why they play the games on side on paper, side on the field. It's all hypothetical, of course, but still. It's just frustrating because, and I'll continue reading the stats here. As mentioned, Tulia Tungalevo was only 18-26, 282, and 3 touchdowns. Shouldn't even say only, but in the second half, he only had about only 40 yards passing because he had 246 and 3 scores at the half. So in the second half, didn't do much. Maryland overall didn't do a whole lot in the second half. Funk had 16 carries for 80 yards and a score. Jarrett Still 5 catches, 144 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. And then Dumas Walker, 6 catches for 86 yards and a score as well. Penn State, on the flip side, Sean Clifford in a losing effort, coming from behind. Yeah, stats might not say so, but he was 27 of 57. There's no way in hell he threw the ball 57 times. Did he really throw the ball 57 times? That has to be a record-breaking quarterback completion attempt for Penn State in probably program history. When was the last time a Penn State quarterback threw the ball 57 times?
Ohio State, I think it was 5 sacks. Tommy Togiai was in the middle of that D-line, had himself 3 sacks.
Sean Clifford was 27 of 57 for 340 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Maryland trolling Penn State now on social media, I see. Yeah. Happy Valley's been unhappy as of late. Unhappier, now Sad Valley. So they say Maryland going to be going back on home to College Park with a 35-19 road win against Penn State. Still can't run the football. Penn State can still not run the football. It is so ridiculous, so pathetic. When you can block but you can't run, there's something wrong. But then late in this game, they couldn't block for Clifford. He took I don't know how many sacks here. But Devin Ford had 9 carries for 36 yards. Keziah Holmes, 9 carries for 29 yards. Sean Clifford, he had 26 yards rushing at the half. He ended 17 carries for 26 yards rushing. Because he was sacked. We'll see team stats here.
A huge challenge for that staff, no doubt. They go to Nebraska next week. We saw Nebraska today against Northwestern. Came close. Certainly an improved Nebraska.
Sacks aren't showing up today for some reason.
No doubt for Penn State.
Normally they're there.
Let's turn the page though back to Maryland. They are the story on this day. Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah, sacks aren't on the stat board in the box score today for some unknown reason. So Clifford, I'd say what, he sacked 5, 6, 7, 8 times probably, somewhere in there. Talia Tagovailoa now giving his post-game interview. But yeah, Devin Ford had 36 yards rushing. Keziah Holmes had 29 yards rushing. Sean Clifford had 26 yards rushing. And then Kevon Lee only 1 carry for 3 yards in the first half. So they didn't even break 100 total rushing yards as a team, for God's sakes. Like, if they were balanced, if they could run the football and Clifford still airs it out for 340, they'd be scoring points probably. Like, it would add up. Jahan Dawson had 9 catches for 123 yards receiving and a score. Pat Fryermuth 6 catches for 91 yards receiving. Parker Washington had 8 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Daniel George 2 of 34. Brenton Strange 2 of 22. So that'll do it for Penn State and Maryland. The Nittany Lions once again start out 0-3 for the first time since 2001. It doesn't look like I'll be eating any turtle soup tonight by any means. Yeah, the Nittany Lions must have been very, very scared of a little snapping turtle coming out from his shell. I can already see the memes, and I probably shouldn't even say it, but I literally just thought of this. How's the Franklin theme song go? Well, however it goes, Penn State with James Franklin as the Penn State head coach, losing to Indiana and now losing to Maryland this season. Indiana for the first time in his career, Maryland second overall. Penn State has only lost to Indiana twice now all time, 2013 with Bill O'Brien, and then 2020 with James Franklin. And then Penn State has now only lost to Maryland 3 times overall. Early 1960s, I believe it was 61, and then 2014, Franklin's first year, and then today. So I should know that Franklin theme song. I think all kids in the 1990s watched
actually was ruled
Franklin and Little Bear and all those type of shows on television. But nonetheless, yeah, Penn State was,
Illinois trying to stay in it.
I shouldn't say scared of the Turtle, but maybe they were because they really didn't show up to play. Fear the Turtle. They got the most of the nitwits in the end anyway. So, hey, Penn State and Illinois both 0-3. December 19th, they might be playing each other because Minnesota just beat the Fighting Illini on the road 41-13. But and that's what Penn State has to do next week against Nebraska on the road. PJ Fleck with Minnesota at 0-2 went back to their basics. You got to play basic, fundamentally sound football. Run the football. You got to block up front, run the football, open play action, play good defense in order to win. Rely on special teams. But Penn State today, they couldn't get anything going whatsoever. Everything in any which way was totally wrong. Anything that could have went wrong for them until it was a little too late. And the Maryland Terrapins go on the road and defeat the Penn State Lions. Once again, 35-19 this afternoon. So Penn State falls to 0-3 now for the first time since 2001. They'll go to Lincoln, Nebraska, take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers next Saturday at noon. Hopefully, you'll tune in for my live reactions play live right here on YouTube. Of that, hopefully, you'll tune in tomorrow as well, as the Steel Curtain will take on America's team, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Live reactions play live right here on YouTube. Thank you once again for tuning in and watching. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Sorry for any technical difficulties by any means with this live stream earlier, but Maryland on the road defeating Penn State 35-19. Happy Valley still unhappy, 0-3 for the first time since 2001, but Penn State will be at Nebraska next Saturday. Hopefully you'll tune in for more live reactions play live right here on YouTube. Maryland 35, Penn State 19.